Chapter 2892. You want to kill me? The sky pride of the Silver Tribe screamed in horror. You can't kill me. I'm from the Silver Tribe. We're the uncrowned kings. If you kill me, the Silver Tribe won't let me off. Lin Xian sneered. This kind of threat won't affect me. You'd better come up with some other reason. Otherwise, I won't let you off. You're courting death. At this moment, there was a roar. In the distance, the headless corpse charged over again. 2 silver spears appeared in his hands and pierced through the void. They turned into silver dragons and descended from the sky, trying to save the head. This was an all-out attack. He had even used the power of his bloodline. However, it was shattered by Lin Xian's punch. The 9 Suns' divine fist directly smashed the headless corpse into pieces. What other tricks do you have? Use them now. Otherwise, you won't have a chance, Lin Xian said indifferently. The divine fire on his body spread, and his palm was covered with a terrifying divine light. It was like a sun. No, damn it. The sky pride of the Silver Tribe was in despair. He didn't have any trump cards to use now. Moreover, even if he used them, he probably wouldn't be able to hurt Lin Xian. That was because Lin Xian didn't use any superpower pills. He was beaten to the point where he couldn't fight back with just his physical strength. Just as he was about to be engulfed by the 9 Suns' divine fire, a majestic voice came from the sky. Junior, let go of him or die. The voice was like thunder, accompanied by thousands of silver lights that turned into sharp swords that descended from the sky. They shrouded Lin Xian. However, as soon as the silver light descended, Lin Xian let out a cold laugh. With a grab of his hand, the head of the Silver Tribe's genius was crushed into pieces. The soul screamed and tried to escape, but it was killed by Lin Xian's sword light. The sword light of the great dragon sword soul could destroy the void, let alone the opponent's soul. What? His soul is destroyed. The sky pride of the Archean era was terrified. The Archean creatures were scared out of their wits. What kind of technique is this? He directly killed the sky pride of the Silver Tribe. It was too terrifying. In the sky, the expert who suddenly appeared also roared, "You're courting death." Following his fury, the silver sword light that filled the sky transformed into a terrifying rain of swords. It was like a meteor that descended from the sky. Boom, boom. The void cracked open, and the entire ancient city shook. This was too terrifying. Were they going to destroy the entire city? The martial artists inside were terrified. It had been more than a year since something like this had happened. Who would have thought that after Lin Xian came out, such a shocking battle would occur again? If the city was destroyed, all of them would be killed. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He did not dodge, because if he did, the city would be affected. Therefore, he waved his fist and charged forward. Boom! The 9 Suns' divine fist was unleashed with an imposing aura. It was as if thousands of suns were soaring into the sky. It collided with the silver light that filled the sky, causing the heavens to collapse and the earth to split. The void turned into nothingness, spreading in all directions. Those who were slightly weaker directly fainted from the shock. Those who were stronger also felt their chi and blood churn. Fortunately, the fist was not aimed at them. Just the aftermath of the energy was already too much for them to handle. If they were hit by the energy, no one would be able to stop it. After the attack, the silver light that filled the sky disappeared, and the 9 Suns' divine fist also slowly dissipated in the sky. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back. His eyes turned into sharp swords that pierced through the void. Who's that? How dare you attack me? He frowned. The other party was very powerful, surpassing the sky pride of the Silver Tribe. Could it be that an even more terrifying archaic sky pride has descended? He frowned. The others also looked at the sky. In the next moment, they were extremely shocked. An archaic king. That's right. In the sky, the clouds churned, and a figure appeared. It was a silver-white god of war. He was tall and held a silver scythe in his hand. He looked like a god-fiend with a murderous aura. He quickly descended. Damn brat. How dare you kill the sky pride of the Silver Tribe? I want you dead. He was an archaic king of the Silver Tribe. At this moment, he was emitting a murderous aura. The human powerhouses were filled with fear. Heavens, it's the archaic king of the Silver Tribe. He's a true, invincible king. His strength is absolutely heaven-defying. Lin Xian is probably in danger. Isn't there the archaic Treaty of Alliance? Archaic powerhouses are not allowed to attack? The human cultivators exclaimed. They were worried for Lin Xian. On the opposite side, a sky pride of the blue ghoul race sneered. Idiot, the archaic Treaty of Alliance states that saints are not allowed to attack. However, an archaic king was in existence below the saints. Naturally, he could attack. If there's someone to blame, blame that brat for being too idiotic. He actually dared to kill a sky pride of the Silver Tribe. In their opinion, Lin Xian was dead meat. Although the other party was a sky pride of the younger generation, how could he defeat a true archaic king? Seeing that it was the other party's archaic king, Lin Xian also sneered with a trace of disdain in his eyes. Who did I think it was? So it's an archaic king. Hurry up and get lost. I've killed at least 800 people like you. Indeed, when he had fused with the greater success divine body, he could turn countless archaic kings into blood mist with a single glance. Therefore, what he said was true. However, the other party's archaic king was so angry that he vomited blood. His expression was cold. Brat, you're too arrogant. Do you think that you still have a greater success divine body? I admit that you were very powerful during the darkness turmoil. You could kill everything with a single glance. But now, you're just an ordinary member of the younger generation. Without a greater success divine body, killing you is like slaughtering a dog. You still want to kill me? Do you have the ability? Lin Xian shouted coldly and took a step forward. His 9-yang divine body emitted light. The divine fire transformed into fire dragons that intertwined on his body. Not only that, but there were also dragon roars and sword cries in his body. Terrifying sword energy pierced through the clouds. A powerful force was displayed. How terrifying! Lin Xian actually had such terrifying power. Everyone was terrified. They discovered that the power Lin Xian displayed now was much stronger than before. In other words, the other party didn't use his full strength at all. Heavens, he didn't use his full strength and killed the Silver Clan's prodigy in one move. If he used his full strength, how terrifying would it be? Could it be that he can really contend against an archaic king? They didn't dare to imagine. In the sky, the Silver Clan's archaic king also frowned. He had to admit that the other party was very powerful. His aura was beyond his expectations. No wonder he could kill the Silver Clan's prodigy. But so what? No matter how strong the other party was, he was no match for him. He definitely had to kill the other party. Therefore, in the next moment, he snorted coldly. Murderous intent surged from his body, turning into a killing god domain that suppressed downward. I'm not afraid of you, Lin Xian shouted coldly. Endless flames condensed, forming a long flame sword that he held in his hand. A terrifying sword intent spread out as if it was going to split the sky and earth. The attacks of the two sides collided, devouring the sky and splitting the earth. After that attack, they did not continue to attack. Instead, they turned to look at Lin Xian. You really want to attack? Lin Xian nodded firmly. However, the 3 unrivaled kings still frowned. They said, since you guys want to fight, then we can fight. However, since Hall Master Lin was from the younger generation, why not set the time limit of 10 moves? Lin Xian was the benefactor of the entire human race who had stopped the great chaos of the Dark World. These 3 invincible kings naturally didn't want anything to happen to him. However, given the current situation, they had no choice but to fight. Therefore, they set the time limit of 10 moves. Thinking about it, Lin Xian should be able to resist them. All right, as you wish. The primordial king of the silver race revealed a sinister smile. Not to mention 10 moves, he could kill Lin Xian in 1 move. Therefore, he didn't care at all. Lin Xian also nodded. In the next moment, the 3 invincible kings of the human race swayed and quickly retreated to the side. The surrounding immemorial creatures and humans also retreated. The array formation of Water Moon City was activated. Countless runes densely packed together and covered the surroundings. Brat, you're too reckless. Do you really think you can fight against me? The primordial king's eyes were filled with killing intent. Today, I will personally send you to hell. Hell? Lin Xian sneered. You? I'm afraid you don't have the right. You're courting death. Hearing this, the primordial king of the silver race trembled with anger. He roared angrily, and the silver light on his body scattered. A huge hand came crashing down in front of him, covering the sky and covering the earth. Lin Xian didn't stand on ceremony. He used the 9-yang divine body and punched out. His arm was like a true dragon, moving freely in the sky. His palm turned into a dragon's head. It was extremely terrifying. Boom! With one strike, 10,000 bolts of lightning descended. Lin Xian took 3 steps back. After removing the force, the array formation under his feet cracked. In the sky, the silver palm was blocked and slowly dissipated. He blocked it. He actually blocked the attack of the Silver Pearl Primordial King? Heavens, isn't this brat's strength too terrifying? The 9-yang divine body. His 9-yang divine body must have become stronger again. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to block it. This brat is too abnormal. Exclamations sounded one after another. They didn't expect Lin Xian's physique to be so strong. One had to know that the Silver Race Group 1 was the uncrowned king. Their primordial king was extremely powerful. Moreover, the physique of the Silver Race was also extremely terrifying. The silver body was extremely famous. Now, Lin Xian was able to fight against an invincible king with his physical body. This was absolutely shocking. Sure enough, the face of the Silver Race's primordial king was terrifyingly gloomy. Lin Xian's mouth raised into a smile. The silver body was only SOSO. Do you dare to compete with me in pure physical strength? As soon as these words came out, the eyes of the 3 invincible kings of the human race lit up. It seemed that this brat wasn't stupid. Indeed, in terms of cultivation, the Silver Race's primordial king was definitely stronger. However, in terms of pure physical strength, it might not be the case. After all, Lin Xian cultivated the 9-yang divine body, a terrifying physique that had been lost. Perhaps he could really block the attack of the Silver Race's primordial king. Humph! The Silver Race Group 1's primordial king snorted coldly. Brat, since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. Do you think you can contend against me with pure physical strength? To be honest, even if he didn't use his divine ability, so what if he used pure physical strength? He was still confident that he could defeat his opponent. Is that so? Next, I'll let you know what it means to have an invincible physical body. Lin Xian's mouth raised into a sneer. Now that his 9-yang divine body had reached the small success stage, it could be said that in terms of pure physical strength, he was extremely terrifying. Even if his opponent was an invincible king with a silver body, he might not be able to compete with him. In the next moment, his arm was like a dragon as he attacked again. His 5 fingers formed a mountain and descended from the sky. You're courting death. Seeing that his opponent dared to take the initiative to attack, the Silver Race's primordial king was enraged. His white hair fluttered, and silver runes shone around him. Accompanied by his fist, he blasted forward. Boom! Boom boom! In the sky, the sound of an intense collision rang out. The void was torn apart one after another. 2 moves, 3 moves, 10 moves. After 3 consecutive punches, everyone was shocked. Lin Xian's physical strength was indeed comparable to the Silver Race's invincible king. This scene made the primordial Sky Pride's face turn ugly. Chapter 2894. On the other hand, the humans heaved a sigh of relief. From the looks of it, it shouldn't be a problem to withstand 10 moves. However, they still underestimated Lin Xian. What Lin Xian wanted was not only to withstand the other party's attack. Buzz! At the 5th move, Lin Xian roared, and the 9-yang divine body emitted an even more resplendent light. With a wave of his palm, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Nothing could withstand it. Bang! This palm slapped towards the other party's head. A terrifying golden light shot into the sky, vast and mighty for tens of thousands of miles, pressing down on those people until they couldn't breathe. The 9-yang divine palm was incomparably terrifying, as if a peerless god of war had descended from the sky. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Silver Fist. The Silver Clan's primordial king also snorted coldly and waved his fist. How could he lose to the other party in terms of physical strength? However, in the next moment, his expression changed. This collision actually caused cracks to appear on his arm. Silver blood dripped into the void. He was injured. The Silver King's palm actually cracked. Damn it! How was this possible? Everyone was stupefied. The Silver King even let out a miserable cry, his eyes and mouth wide open in disbelief. Impossible? How could I be injured? With a furious roar, silver light flickered quickly, completely enveloping his arm and restoring it. However, in the next moment, Lin Xian's attack came again. The golden beast's palm covered the sky and the earth, blasting towards the other party's head. Damn it! The Silver King was completely enraged. He raised his arm again to block. Dang! At this moment, the bones in his arm also cracked and blood burst out again. Lin Xian sneered. You think it's easy to kill me? Today, I'll tear your mouth apart. He was indeed angry, so he didn't hold back at all. The 9 young divine palm opened and closed, quickly blasting out one palm after another. The other party's arm was broken and deformed. In the end, the palm directly slapped the other party's face. With a crack, the other party's teeth were completely shattered, and half of his face was deformed. His body spun in the sky and blasted on the array formation in the distance. With a bang, the array formation shattered, and the Silver Clan's primordial king fell to the ground, vomiting blood continuously. Everyone was stunned. They couldn't believe it. In a contest of pure physical strength, the primeval king of the Argent clan had actually lost. Could it be that the 9 young divine body was so terrifying? Or could it be that Lin Xian had already reached an extremely high level? He didn't know. The Archean prodigies were all stunned. Even the invincible kings were shocked. Lin Xian sneered. Was this the pride of the Silver Clan? You're nothing in front of me. You dare to be arrogant in front of me with such little capital? Old bastard. The fact that you can exchange 10 moves with me is the result of your hundreds and thousands of years of cultivation. If you were from the younger generation, I could kill you with one slap. Lin Xian shouted coldly without any trace of politeness. Hearing those words, the archaic king of the Bain clan spurted blood once more. He roared at the sky, his silver hair fluttering in the wind. The light on his body soared into the sky. Damn brat, I'll definitely kill you. With a roar, a terrifying silver phantom appeared on his body. The entire ground was cracking, and the formation couldn't be controlled and would shatter at any time. Divine ability. At this moment, the primeval king of the Bain clan finally used his divine ability. He wanted to kill the other party at all costs. Seeing this scene, the 3 invincible kings of the human race changed their expressions. The 3 of them quickly attacked and landed. You said that you won't use divine ability. Moreover, 10 moves have passed, you can't attack anymore. They wouldn't allow the other party to use divine ability here, otherwise, the entire Water Moon City would be destroyed. You dare to control me? Get lost. The Silver King was completely crazy. What agreement of 10 moves? What not allowing the use of divine ability? He didn't care at all. He must kill this brat in front of him. However, these 3 invincible kings of the human race were not to be trifled with. They also counterattacked quickly. For a time, a shocking collision erupted again, and the formation was torn apart. This was the primeval king? You don't keep your word. Really, you want to fight with your life when you can't win? How shameless. Do you want to film us saints to bully you? The surrounding human race martial artists were also angry. They felt that they were indeed angry. The other party didn't keep his word. He couldn't afford to lose. Lin Xian also snorted coldly. Why? Can't afford to play. Want to compete with me in divine ability? However, not here. Let's go to the ancient arena to fight. Lin Xian wasn't afraid at all. He knew that this kind of giant city had a martial arts arena left behind from ancient times. It was specially used for powerhouses to compete. Fighting there wouldn't destroy the entire city. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. Lin Xian, was he really going to fight the other party to the death? In terms of divine ability, could Lin Xian really contend with it? They didn't know. However, Lin Xian was really too domineering now, making these human race martial artists' blood boil. On the other side, the Silver King was so angry that he vomited blood. To be honest, he was already embarrassed enough now. However, he couldn't care so much anymore. He wanted to kill the other party. However, at this moment, a voice came from the void. 14th uncle, why are you angry with him? Doesn't he want to fight? I'll fight him fairly. When the voice came out, it resounded between heaven and earth, carrying with it a mysterious power. Hearing this, the primordial king of the Silver Clan stopped. The others also frowned. Who was this person? So powerful. Could it be that another powerhouse of the Silver Clan had come? The primordial elites were also shocked. It's him? Did he come out of seclusion? Who are you? Lin Xian also frowned and looked at the sky. In the sky, countless rays of silver light appeared, forming a hazy figure standing there. Looking at the other party's appearance, he seemed to be a young man. My name is Bai Qianshan, and I'm from the younger generation of the Silver Clan. You dared to kill my brother and humiliate the Silver Clan. I won't let you go. I'm from the younger generation. I'm not bullying you if I have a fair fight with you, right? The young man's voice was cold. Lin Xian sneered. A young prodigy of the Silver Clan? Get over here, and I'll suppress you with one hand. The golden light on his body shot up into the sky like a peerless demon. Kid, you're arrogant, but you'll regret it. My strength is not something that my foolish younger brother can compare to. You can fight me if you want, but not now. 1 month. 1 month later, we'll have a fair fight. I'll kill you with my own hands. After talking for so long, you still can't come out. Lin Xian sneered. Fine. I'll wait for you for a month. 1 month later, I'll take your head off in front of the whole world. At the end of his words, 2 rays of light shot out from his eyes and turned into a golden dragon that shot up into the sky. The silver figure was smashed into pieces. Everyone was shocked. It seemed that the person who came out was an even more terrifying genius of the Silver Clan. However, it seemed that Lin Xian was not afraid at all. In fact, he smashed the other party's phantom directly. After doing all this, Lin Xian stared at the primordial king of the Silver Clan and said coldly, Old thing, you'd better be polite when you see me in the future. Otherwise, I'll tear your mouth apart. Chapter 2895. Kid, keep being stubborn. The primordial king of the Baiyin tribe was trembling with anger. However, since the prodigy of their tribe had decided to make a move on him a month later, no matter what, he would not make a move. Kid, I'll let you jump around for another month. A month later, you'll die a horrible death. After saying that, the primordial king of the Baiyin tribe left quickly. Light flickered on his face as his broken face and missing teeth grew back. He did not dare to stay here any longer. Otherwise, he would go crazy from anger. Phew, he was finally gone. The humans heaved a sigh of relief. A terrifying primordial king had left just like that. Lin Xian was really strong. Yes, he dared to face the primordial king head-on and not be at a disadvantage. He even slapped the king of Thailand. How domineering. Do you want to continue fighting? After seeing the primordial king of the Baiyin tribe leave, Lin Xian looked at the surrounding prodigies. Those prodigies froze. What kind of joke is this? Continue fighting? The other party was so strong that they would not dare to make a move even if they were beaten to death. Therefore, those prodigies snorted coldly. Kid, I'll see how you die in a month's time. That's right. Just you wait. You'll definitely be killed. Those prodigies also said a few words and left quickly. You're leaving just like that? Do you want to stew all of you? Bring more companions next time. Otherwise, there won't be enough to eat. The crimson dragon stood at the back and waved its claws as it spoke. Hearing that, those primordial creatures almost fell from the sky. They hurriedly fled. Damn, he's a terrifying glutton. He even dares to eat the corpse of a dragon, let alone ours. After seeing all the primordial creatures leave, the humans heaved a sigh of relief. Many of them cheered. God Lin Xian, you're so powerful. All hail the god. God Lin Xian, can I ask you some questions about cultivation? Many people were envious. Among them, a beautiful woman asked softly. She was very nervous, and the light on her body swayed, showing her uneasiness. Lin Xin smiled and nodded. Sure, I'll help you as long as I can. That's great. The woman hurriedly asked some questions about swordsmanship. She said, from the 13th to the 14th sword, 14th move. God Lin Xin, can you help me? After looking through it, he began to give pointers. The route is a little slow, and the timing is? You can change your route 2 seconds in advance. After hearing that, the primordial king tried. As expected, Lin Su. Great. God Lin Xin's, Lin Xin, she's, she. It was the same for the others. It was as if they had been injected with chicken blood as they screamed crazily, seeking guidance. About 2 hours later, Lin Xian left with the crowd. Those martial artists liked it very much. Great God Lin Xian was so approachable. Yes, as one of the top 5 prodigies, he actually gave us pointers. The god is too powerful. He can see through our problems at a glance. I'll be a loyal follower of God Lin Xian from now on. These people were all influenced by Lin Xian. Lin Xian was powerful, protected the human race, and had a good personality. He was even willing to give them pointers. He's a perfect top prodigy. Let's go. Lin Xian smiled. We can take a look around Watermoon City. I remember there are a few ancient stone workshops in Watermoon City. We can go and cut some stones. Hearing this, the Crimson Dragon became interested. The followers behind him were also excited. I heard that apart from his powerful combat strength, God Lin Xian is also an expert in spirit seeking. I remember that the Mophead family was defeated by God Lin Xian. These people were discussing animatedly. Finally, I can broaden my horizons again. Lin Xian walked forward. There was a very large primeval stone workshop in the Mysterious Stones Pavilion. It was supported by the Great Xia Dynasty and the Nineli Dynasty, so it could be said to be very famous. Seeing a group of people walking over, the elders in the Wonderful Stones Pavilion also walked out. When they saw Lin Xian, they all bowed and greeted him. The 2 elders were very polite. Lin Xian nodded slightly, then walked forward. His gaze swept across those strange stones. He pointed at a square stone and said, "How much is this?" This square stone was about half a meter tall. It was covered with moss and looked very ordinary. However, Lin Xian hit the nail on the head. The others were also discussing, wanting to see the secret behind it. Lord Lin has protected the human race and repelled the dark turmoil. We can't be more grateful. Why would we take your money? How about this? We'll give this stone to Lord Lin. That's not very good. Lin Xian shook his head. Elder Zhang said, "It's nothing. If it weren't for Lord Lin, we would have become slaves of the 10,000 ancient races by now. Giving you a stone is really not enough to express our gratitude. I hope Lord Lin won't mind." All right then. Seeing that the other party insisted, Lin Xian couldn't refuse. He waved his hand, and the square stone came in front of him. He used his fingers like a knife, and his fingers were like lightning as he quickly cut it. Pieces of stone skin were torn off and fell. When it was the size of a football, he cut it with a knife, and the sky immediately flickered with light. There's really something. I told you, how powerful is Lin Xian? How could he make a mistake? Previously, they thought that Lin Xian had chosen the wrong stone because it was too ordinary. However, it seemed that Lin Xian had his reasons for choosing this stone. The great god was indeed the great god. More and more light filled the sky, and even the air became hot. Everyone activated their king's domains to protect themselves. What is that thing? It's too terrifying. Yeah, why do I feel like it's a flame? It's too hot. Even the expressions of the 2 elders changed. To be honest, they didn't pay much attention to the stone before. In their opinion, even if there was something in the stone, it wouldn't be anything good. However, at this moment, they realized that they were wrong. There was definitely a wondrous treasure inside. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to emit such light and aura. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and patiently cut the stone bit by bit. After the last cut, a roar sounded. A red flaming bird soared into the sky and bloomed with divine light. Then, it disappeared from the world. Is that a phoenix? No, it's not a phoenix. It's a vermilion bird, a terrifying divine beast. Could it be a vermilion bird inside? They were extremely surprised. Soon, they saw that it wasn't a vermilion bird. The two elders also cried out in surprise. What's that? The vermilion bird stone. Indeed, there was a fist-sized stone inside. It was as red as blood and had a scorching temperature. The vermilion bird stone was a stone that contained a strange flame. It was rumored to be related to the vermilion bird and was very rare. It could be said that even invincible kings would be jealous of it. Even some saints were looking for it. Chapter 2896. He didn't expect that Lin Xian would be able to cut out such a precious item from the stone. Lin Xian was also very satisfied. The vermilion bird stone? Not bad, not bad. I just happen to need this kind of fire attribute item. If he wanted to cultivate the 9 young divine body, he would probably have to find a few strange flames in the world to refine it. Only then would he be able to continue cultivating the 9 young divine body. This vermilion bird stone contained a type of flame. Perhaps it could be refined into vermilion bird fire. It was indeed beneficial for him to cultivate the 9 young divine body. Not only could the 9 young divine body be improved, but the power inside could also improve the great dragon sword soul. Therefore, Lin Xian flipped his palm and accepted it without hesitation. However, after thinking about it, he raised his head and said to the two elders, "The third stone in the row in front, the round stone over there, and the stone with 9 holes under my feet. Be careful. There might be something incredible inside." What? Something incredible? The two elders were shocked. Then, their faces were filled with gratitude. Thank you for your reminder, Hall Master Lin. They were simply too excited. After all, they had already witnessed Lin Xian's capabilities. He could cut out the vermilion bird stone with a casual glance. The 3 stones that he reminded them of must be very precious. It was definitely not inferior to the vermilion bird stone. It seemed that they had done the right thing by giving Lin Xian a stone. Next, Lin Xian didn't make any more moves. Instead, he left the Mystic Stone Pavilion and walked elsewhere. Along the way, he encountered elixir stores and weapon stores. In short, everyone wanted to invite him over. Some people even gave him elixirs and weapons to thank him. After all, Lin Xian had saved the entire human race. Awesome. This feeling was just too awesome. The Crimson Dragon was also very excited. Because he followed Lin Xian, he was also treated very well. Lin Xian was very humble. This was because he was originally a member of the human race. Therefore, it was his duty to protect the human race. Moreover, he wasn't the only one who stopped the Dark Faction's chaos that day. His father Lin Zhan, Xia Jiuyo, Lord Alcohol, Demon Lord, Life Saintess, and the Blue Saber Sage. All of them had participated. Even the saints of the major saint sects had put in some effort. Therefore, he could not take all the credit for himself. However, he had indeed made a great contribution. The gratitude of the humans towards him made him feel very warm. When he saw Roussillon standing there, he was very excited. Lin Xian glanced at him. Why? Does it feel good to be respected by others? Do you want to have this feeling forever? Of course, he wanted to. But he probably wouldn't have the chance in the future. The 10,000 ancient races weren't fools. They definitely wouldn't allow another dark upheaval to occur in the near future. The Crimson Dragon asked doubtfully. Lin Xian laughed. What do you mean by instigating a dark upheaval? You're a mystical dragon after all. The dragon blood flowing in your body isn't any weaker than the dragon races. I reckon you'll be able to compete with that Dragon Crown Prince. Should he kill the Dragon Prince? We'll unify the dragon race, then lead the dragon race to unify the myriad ancient races. Hearing this, the Crimson Dragon was shocked. Kid, I didn't expect you to have such ambitions and ideas. Although I like it, it's definitely impossible. If we kill the Dragon Prince, the entire nest of 10,000 dragons would probably go crazy. At that time, they would probably carry extreme weapons and hunt us down all over the world. The Crimson Dragon didn't want to do such a stupid thing. I was just suggesting an idea, but there's actually something that you're afraid of. Lin Xian laughed. At the same time, he said doubtfully, I'm very curious. Logically speaking, the nest of 10,000 dragons should be the gathering place of all the dragons in the world, but you don't belong to the nest of 10,000 dragons. Moreover, you're not sealed. Then, where did you come from? Where are the people of the mystical dragon bloodline? It can't be that you're the only one left, right? Also, what's the relationship between the mystical dragon bloodline and the nest of 10,000 dragons? Haven't you thought about these? Lin Xian asked. The Crimson Dragon sighed. I don't know. I don't have any memories of this. The Crimson Dragon really doesn't know. He also doesn't know what relationship he has with the nest of 10,000 dragons. As for the mystical dragon bloodline, it seems that he's the only one left. Lin Xian continued to ask. Then, other than the nest of 10,000 dragons and the mystical dragon bloodline, are there any other races in the dragon race? How did you guys split them? He wasn't very clear about the branches of the dragon race. The Crimson Dragon said, there must be a lot, but most of them belong to the nest of 10,000 dragons. Maybe my mystical dragon bloodline used to belong to the nest of 10,000 dragons, but I don't know why we came out. The Crimson Dragon wasn't too clear about this. Lin Xian said, it's not a big deal. Don't worry, if there's a chance, we can still kill the Dragon Prince. His eyes lit up, and the people around him felt their scalps go numb. However, Lin Xian didn't explain anything. He knew that he was going to march towards the path of the Great Emperor, and the other party's Dragon Prince would definitely take this path. Both sides would definitely have a fight in the future. Only one person could survive, so killing the Dragon Crown Prince was something he had to do. More importantly, the Crimson Dragon wasn't weaker than the Dragon Prince. The Great Dragon Sword Soul in his body was also related to the dragon race. Moreover, it was rumored that the Great Dragon Sword Soul was transformed from an ancestral dragon, and its level was probably much higher than the Dragon Prince. It might even be stronger than the Dragon Emperor. Therefore, Lin Xian's idea of attacking the nest of 10,000 dragons and even the entire dragon race wasn't whimsical. However, this matter had to be done slowly. At least, with his current strength, it wasn't enough to fight against the entire nest of 10,000 dragons. While Lin Xian was strolling around Watermoon City, in another place, this was a clean land with fiery red mountain peaks densely packed together. There were many volcanoes erupting, and the magma was very terrifying. It could even turn an invincible king into ashes. This was the place where the Fire Qilin Cave existed. At this moment, the ancient kings and sages in the Fire Qilin Cave were extremely nervous. In front of them stood a young man in a flame robe. The young man had a handsome face and fair skin like a woman. Flames burned on his body. On his body, there was the mark of a Fire Qilin that covered half of his body. He was very mighty and extraordinary. His identity was shocking because he was the son of the Qilin Emperor, the Qilin Crown Prince. His status and bloodline weren't any weaker than the Dragon Prince of the dragon race. Beside him, divine crystal fragments were scattered all over the ground. Obviously, this Qilin Crown Prince had just broken out of the seal of the divine crystal. Sure enough, countless ancient creatures knelt in front of him and paid their respects to the Qilin Crown Prince. Get up. The Qilin Crown Prince was expressionless. The Qilin pattern on his body was swaying and shining. It was as if he had come to life. With a wave of his hand, all the ancient creatures were dragged up. Crown Prince, you have just recovered and are still very weak. We have already prepared the three-colored divine fire. You can recuperate inside. A few ancient sages quickly formed hand seals. The ground in front of them cracked open and a divine pit appeared. Chapter 2897. In the deep pit, there were 3 balls of flames dancing and intertwining with each other, emitting a terrifying aura. However, the Qilin race was born for sex. The more powerful the flame, the more energy it could provide them. Therefore, the Qilin Crown Prince nodded and waved his hand. The 3-colored divine flame enveloped him. All right, I'll cultivate for a while. The Qilin Crown Prince said in a deep voice. There's one more thing that my father said when he sealed me. When I broke out of the seal, it would be the time for the Sky Flame City to descend. Heavenly Flame City was a mysterious city. It contained incomparably terrifying flames. Even great emperors were unable to completely see through its secrets. I won't go to the Sky Flame City this time, but there's something inside that you must bring out for me. Don't worry, Crown Prince, we'll arrange it. Hearing this, the Qilin Crown Prince nodded. There's no need to keep this news a secret. It's best to let the whole world know. Let the 10,000 ancient races and the human race enter. This is what my father wants. Yes, we know. Although the ancient saints were confused, they knew that the Qilin king must have his reasons for doing so. Although the Qilin king had been dead for tens of thousands of years, the other party's arrangements were definitely exquisite. They had to abide by it. Above the endless nine heavens, the void cracked open and countless flames danced. A huge shadow fell. It was as if it was going to crush the whole world. At this moment, all the living beings in the true spirit world felt it. Whether it was the 10,000 ancient races or the human race, they all looked up at the sky with fear. Especially the human race, they screamed. No way, could it be that the ancient race army is coming again? This scene was extremely similar to a year ago when the 10,000 ancient races started the dark turmoil. What's going on? Even the elders, sect leaders, and sacred lords of the sacred grounds looked up. Their gazes turned into lightning, piercing through the void. In the Water-Moon City, the human race warriors held their breaths and felt their scalps go numb. Not good, run. The dark army is coming again. Damn it, the darkness is moving. Is it going to happen again? The Crimson God was shocked. Damn, it can't be for real, right? Wasn't it just killing a few of their sky prides? It wasn't like they hadn't killed human sky prides before. Lin Xian also frowned. This shouldn't be the case. What were the 10,000 ancient races doing? Could it be that they really wanted to start a war? Damn it, there are still some primeval life forms in this city, right? If there really is a dark rebellion, I'll beat them to death first. Many human warriors gritted their teeth in anger. There were still some ancient creatures left in Water-Moon City. At this moment, they were also dumbfounded. That's not right. It's none of our business. In addition to the three royal families, the other primeval saints and the other primeval saints were also extremely excited. As long as they could enter the legendary and mysterious Sky Flame City, they would definitely be able to obtain heaven-defying treasures. For a time, the 10,000 ancient races were ready to make a move. The human race was also in an uproar. The Yi family, the Gu family, the Queen Mother of the West, and the others were also flipping through ancient books and asking the saints and elders in the group. Finally, they also found out. This was the legendary Sky Flame City. There might be a strange treasure inside. For a time, the human race was also excited. In Water-Moon City, Lin Xian activated the array formation and sent a voice transmission to Li Xuanxian, the chief guardian, and the others. He was asking about this matter. Soon, he narrowed his eyes. From the array formation, he learned that this city was called Skyflame City. It was an incomparably mysterious existence. Rumor had it that there was an incomparably terrifying sky flame inside. Its power was boundless. Sky flame? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He was really looking forward to it. To be honest, he originally needed some strange flames to temper his 9-yang divine body. He didn't expect that after he had just obtained the Vermilion Birdstone, another sky flame city would appear. Moreover, there was a rumored mysterious sky flame inside. If he could enter, his 9-yang divine body would be able to quickly improve. It could even increase the power of the great dragon sword soul. This was killing many birds with one stone. How could he not be moved? The world was abuzz with discussion. Lin Xian was also preparing to return to the Immortal Palace to discuss with the Chief Guardian, Elderly, and the others. They wanted to see how to enter the Sky River City that had suddenly appeared. Chapter 2898. The Crimson Dragon began to set up an array formation. The two of them tore through the void and teleported away from Water-Moon City. They returned to the Immortal Palace. At the same time, the sages of the Fire Qilin Cave also began to work together to spread the news. After all, the ancient emperor had already deduced this matter, so they knew a little more. They first contacted the nest of 10,000 dragons and the divine Phoenix Ridge. The three ancient royal families also joined forces to advance together. Of course, this time, the Fire Qilin Cave also contacted the Yi family, the Gu family, the Jade Lake Sacred Ground, and other top sacred grounds of the human race. They wanted to join forces with them. This scene surprised the Gu family and the Yi family. When did these 10,000 ancient races become so kind? Could it be that there was a trap? Who cares? They would make contact with the other party first. The Yi family, the Gu family, the Western Empress, and the others discussed and decided to take a look. Not only these sacred grounds, but all the sacred grounds and sects were alarmed. Eastern Wilderness, Western Desert, Southern Ridge, Northern Plains, Middle Ground, and all the major factions came out together to explore. The Immortal Palace was naturally no exception. However, this matter was left to Li Xuanxian, the chief guardian, and the others. Lin Xian decided to absorb the energy in the Vermilion Bird Stone first. After all, entering Heavenly Flame City would definitely be unavoidable. At that time, there would be a shocking battle. The most important thing was to increase his strength first. Moreover, he didn't forget that he still had a battle with the top prodigy of the Silver Race in a month. Lin Xian currently had 35,000 Archean power in his normal state. If he fully unleashed the 9 Yang Divine Body and the Great Dragon Sword Soul, he could reach 40,000 Archean power. Lin Xian formed a hand seal and channeled the flames in the Vermilion Bird Stone, turning it into a vermilion bird phantom that devoured him. As for him, he used the cultivation method of the 9 Yang Divine Body and began to cultivate. At the same time, a mysterious dragon-shaped sword shadow flew out of his body and stood in the void, absorbing the energy as well. After 10 days, Lin Xian opened his eyes. The fist-sized vermilion bird stone was dim and covered in cracks. When the last bit of energy was absorbed, the vermilion bird stone exploded and turned into a useless rock. The water fell to the ground. Lin Xian ignored him and opened his eyes. He felt his power and a smile appeared on his face. This was great. His power of the ancient era had increased by 1,000 strands. Even though it was only 1,000 units of Archean power, even the top geniuses would have to spend a lot of time and effort to increase it. He might even have to go into seclusion for a year, consume some heavenly treasures, or make a breakthrough in a top-notch divine ability. It could be said that this was not a simple matter. Now that Lin Xian had absorbed the Vermilion Bird Stone, the power of his Great Dragon Sword Soul and 9 Yang Divine Body had increased. In a mere 10 days, his power of the Archean era had increased by 1,000, and his strength had become tyrannical once again. What's going on outside? Lin Xian asked after coming out of seclusion. The Fire Qilin Cave has joined forces with the Divine Phoenix Ridge, the nest of 10,000 dragons, and the royal clan to join forces with the great sects of the sacred lands on our side to investigate Heaven Flame City. One of the elders quickly reported. Hearing this, Lin Xian frowned. Investigate the 10,000 ancient races together? When did the other party become so kind? Why did he not dare to think about it? There couldn't be a trap, right? The Crimson Dragon beside him also said that it was probably a trap to kill them. We were also very suspicious, but we still went forward. It seemed that there were no traps at the moment. The elder quickly said, "How long would it take to open?" Lin Xian asked. Even if there was a trap, he had to go in and obtain the legendary Heaven Flame. It would take about a month or two. According to the powerhouses of the Fire Qilin Cave, the descent of Heaven Flame City was unstable, and they had to wait until it stabilized before they could enter. It seemed that the Fire Qilin Cave knew more. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Indeed, it seemed that the nest of 10,000 dragons and the Divine Emperor Ridge didn't know as much as they did. The elder also nodded. This news came from Li Xuanxian, the chief guardian, and the others. Interesting. I want to see what this Fire Qilin Cave is up to, Lin Xian said. Continue to pay attention. When it opens, let me know. Yes. The elder respectfully nodded and then turned to leave. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. There were still more than 10 days before the battle with the guy from the Silver Clan. Peacock. He shouted coldly again. The void in front of him broke open and a beautiful woman knelt on the ground with one knee. Palace Master. How was the investigation of Bai Qianshan? How was his strength? It had been investigated. He was a peerless genius of the Silver Clan and was very powerful. It was said that he was the 10th generation grandson. The power of his bloodline was extremely terrifying. 10th generation grandson? What the hell? Lin Xian frowned. He had only been in seclusion for 10 days, and there was a new title? Peacock quickly explained that Bai Qianshan was the 10th generation grandson of the Silver clan's old ancestor. In short, he was the 10th generation grandson. This old ancestor was an extremely terrifying existence in the Sage realm. Therefore, his 10th generation grandson's bloodline power was extremely terrifying. So that's how it was. Seeing that Peacock was hesitating, Lin Xian asked, "Is there anything else? Speak." Peacock nodded and said quickly, "It was like this. 3 days ago, Bai Qianshan came out of seclusion. He challenged an invincible king of the human race, who was a swordsman. He was called the Wild Swordsman King. His strength was extremely terrifying. His Wild Swordsman King could destroy heaven and earth. He was also very famous among the invincible kings. However, he was easily defeated by Bai Qianshan. That battle could be said to be very tragic. The Wild Swordsman King was almost beaten up." Hearing this, Lin Xian raised his eyebrows and asked, "What was the strength of the Wild Swordsman King?" "About 30,000 Archean force." 30,000 Archean force was indeed quite impressive. However, what surprised him was that Bai Qianshan was able to beat up an invincible king with 30,000 Archean force. This meant that his strength was at least 33,000 Archean force. At least, it could be higher. Interesting. Lin Xian nodded slightly. "I hope he won't disappoint me." "Palace Master, there's one more thing," Peacock continued. Lin Xian was surprised. "What's the matter? Speak." "It's like this. Today, Bai Qianshan challenged an eminent monk of the Western Desert. It was said that this eminent monk was stronger than the Wild Swordsman King. According to calculations, he had 35,000 Archean force." 35,000 Archean force. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes, and a piercing sword light bloomed in his eyes. Currently, in his normal state, he only had 36,000 Archean force. In other words, this eminent monk of the Western Desert was about the same as him in his normal state. Did he go to the Western Desert to fight? Can you use a formation to teleport the battle here? Lin Xian asked in a deep voice. "Yes, Palace Master. I'll send someone to prepare it." Peacock's figure flashed, and like a ghost, she disappeared into the void. Not long after, a light screen appeared above the starry hall. It was very large, and it covered the entire space. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon raised their heads and looked at the sky. On the light screen, the sky was filled with yellow sand, and there were countless shining Buddhist lights, as well as towering temples. It seemed that they were in the Western Desert. Chapter 2899. There were countless people around. They should be the martial artists who had gone to the Western Desert to watch the battle. Of course, there were also many Archean creatures. The most eye-catching were 2 people. One of them was an old monk in a kasaya. His face was calm, and there was no sadness or joy. He wore a string of Buddhist beads around his neck and a string of Buddhist beads in his hand. He was slowly turning them. Opposite him was a tall young man. His body was covered in silver light, forming a monstrous armor that covered the sky. He looked like a god fiend. The aura emitted from his body seemed to be able to suppress the world. That should be Bai Qianshan, the 10th generation grandchild of the primordial ancestor of the Silver tribe. "Old monk, I advise you to surrender obediently and admit defeat. If you do, I can spare your life." In front of him, the Silver god of war, Bai Qianshan, said coldly. Around him, the void was rapidly collapsing. "How dare you? Who do you think you are? How dare you ask our elder to surrender? That's right. My martial uncle's magic power is monstrous. How can he lose to you?" The old monk was an eminent monk of the Putua temple. At this moment, the monks of the Putua temple all shouted angrily. "Ba, little benefactor, if you have any tricks up your sleeve, just use them." The eminent monk in front of him also shouted in a deep voice. "Old man, since you want to die, then don't blame me." Bai Qianshan took a step forward, and the aura on his body suddenly erupted. Silver runes spun around him, turning into 360 vortexes that crazily absorbed the surrounding spiritual energy. "Die!" With a roar, a silver fist punched out. The 360 vortexes jumped together, and a terrifying and violent power surged forward. What a terrifying fist. What a terrifying power. The surrounding martial artists who were watching the battle trembled. In front of the starry hall, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. That punch contained at least 30,000 arcane force. By Qinshan was really impressive. A casual attack was already so terrifying. He was not the only one. The other sacred grounds and sects were also watching through the array formation. When the older generation experts saw this scene, they could not help but tremble. A casual punch could kill an ordinary invincible king. Bai Qinshan's strength had increased again. Rumor had it that he was the 10th generation grandchild. Was he already so terrifying? If he was the 2nd or 1st generation grandchild, how terrifying would he be? The talents and bloodlines of the 10,000 ancient races are too heaven-defying. It's not easy for the human race to grow. These elders felt their scalps go numb. Fortunately, the 10,000 ancient races had gone into hibernation during the primordial era. Otherwise, the human race would probably still be their slaves. Facing this shocking punch, Pu Shan's eyelids twitched slightly. Although the other party was young, his strength was too terrifying. Wang, he roared angrily. An endless Buddhist light burst out from his eyes. A large hand stretched out. Symbols flickered in the sky, forming a golden mountain that slammed forward. This scene also caused the human race cultivators to exclaim in surprise. This was because the power of the Buddha's palm was not the slightest bit weaker than the silver fist. However, the experts of the older generation sighed. This was because Pu Shan was an invincible king of the older generation who had lived for nearly 2,000 years. Although this Bai Qinshan was also someone from the primordial era, he had been sealed in ice all this time. His true age was very young, probably not more than 100 years old. However, the two of them were actually evenly matched. This meant that their opponent's talent and bloodline far surpassed Pu Shan's. This was not something worthy of celebration. The golden palm and the silver fist collided in the sky, setting off a storm that filled the sky. The surrounding crowd quickly retreated, their faces filled with horror. This shocking battle was too powerful. Amitabha. Pu Shan chanted Buddhist scriptures again. The golden palm flashed, as if it was going to seal the silver fist. Old man, you still want to seal me? Go to hell. Stars in the sky. Bai Qinshan let out a long roar. The silver light on his body was incomparably dazzling. It turned into one huge star after another in the sky, bringing with it a terrifying power as it fell from the sky. It slammed into the golden palm and pierced through it. What? It broke. It broke the Buddha's palm. The martial artists were shocked, especially the monks. Their faces were filled with horror. The golden palm was incomparably powerful. It was impossible to break it. It was called the Buddha's hand. Yet now, it was actually shattered into pieces by Chu Feng. This was something that they did not dare to believe. Damn it, has the other party become so strong? They felt a chill in their hearts. The powerhouses from the sacred grounds who were watching the battle from afar were also shocked. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. That attack just now should be the other party's ultimate move. It was very powerful. It seemed that the other party had the right to be arrogant. Flower blooms. Pu Shan roared. Behind him, endless Buddhist light rolled and condensed into a Buddhist flower. The Buddhist flower was extremely pure, like a celestial flower from the immortal world. Open. With a roar, the golden flower slowly spread out. Accompanying it was a terrifying aura that seemed to tear the whole world apart. The surrounding people's hearts beat wildly, and their faces changed drastically. Not good. Retreat quickly. This was a Buddhist grand magic. The martial artists and primordial creatures who were watching the battle fled madly. The surrounding void was quickly shattered. It could not withstand the power of the flower. Boom, boom. In the sky, countless silver stars exploded with a loud bang. Bai Qinshan's pupils shrank. He did not expect the old monk to have such a grand magic. If the golden flower fully bloomed, it would pose a threat to his life. Get lost. In the next moment, he roared. Silver spear rage god. Go to hell. The vast silver stars turned into a silver domain. This was the other party's king domain. The silver domain spun rapidly and formed a silver spear. It was like the spear of a god descending from the sky. With one strike, the mountains and rivers shattered, and the earth cracked. A huge crack that was tens of thousands of miles wide appeared in the void and spread into the distance. This spear was too terrifying. Its target was the golden flower behind Poo Shan. The golden flower had 6 petals, and 3 of them had already bloomed. The shocking power had already shocked everyone. Even Bai Qianshan had to treat it seriously. When the 4th petal bloomed, the silver spear finally collided with the golden flower. The 2 of them exploded with destructive energy. Not good. Poo Shan's pupils shrank. A hint of shock appeared in his eyes. This spear was too terrifying. It actually shook his golden flower. This golden flower was also condensed from his king's domain, and it was also an extremely powerful Buddhist sect divine ability. When all 6 petals bloomed, it could definitely destroy everything. However, he had only bloomed the 4th flower. There were still 2 more flowers to bloom. With a roar, he continued to use the Buddhist Dharma to make the 5th petal bloom. An even more terrifying power came from the golden flower, causing everyone to be terrified. Bai Qianshan snorted. "Old man, you have no chance. Die." Chapter 2900. The Fury God was slashing. In the next moment, countless silver runes flickered in his body, and an even more terrifying power burst out. Then, a silver phantom rose from his body. It was a few hundred feet tall. It turned into a silver giant. With a roar, it grabbed the long spear formed by the king's domain. Kill. An astonishing murderous aura burst out, and its power increased explosively. Not good. The power of the bloodline. This was the power of the bloodline of the 10th generation grandson. It was too terrifying. The surrounding human martial artists screamed crazily. The monks of Putua Temple also exclaimed, "Elder, be careful." The primordial being of the Argent clan revealed a sinister smile. It was useless. Once the power of the 10th generation grandson's bloodline was activated, no one could stop it. How could that old man possibly block such power? Boom, boom. The Fury God's roar was earth-shattering. Cracks began to appear on the golden flower behind the Bodhisattva. Then, it exploded, turned into spiritual energy, and dissipated. Poo Shan kept retreating, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. A few cracks also appeared on his body. It was very terrifying. Blood flowed down his cracks and dyed his body red. He was injured. Poo Shan was injured. Everyone was horrified. They did not expect that such a terrifying Buddhist monk would be injured. Could it be that Poo Shan was going to be defeated? Poo Shan also roared angrily. A golden wheel rushed out of his body and spun rapidly like a sun. However, Bai Qianshan laughed sinisterly. "Ha ha ha ha, old monk, you don't have a chance. From the moment you met me, you were destined to lose. Now, kneel in front of me and admit defeat." Following his words, the silver giant in the sky held the Fury God's spear in his hand and attacked again. The spear blasted the golden wheel away and pierced through Poo Shan's body. Poof! He was nailed to the ground. Clang! The golden wheel fell to the ground, and blood dyed the ground red. The Buddhist light in the sky disappeared. "No, elder!" The monks of Putua Temple screamed crazily. They could not accept that their elder, an invincible king, had been defeated by the other party. Moreover, he was seriously injured. The other martial artists who were watching the battle were also shocked. Many of them were so shocked that they almost fainted. He was too powerful. Although the other party was from the younger generation, he had defeated many invincible kings. The experts from the various sacred grounds and sects were equally shocked. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The archaic creatures sneered again and again. "With just this bit of strength, you want to compete with us? Humans, you're just lucky. If it weren't for the accident last time, this world would have long been ruled by us. Even if we coexist now, you are still no match for us. It won't be long before you'll have to crawl at our feet. Damn it, let's fight." Many monks of Putua Temple shouted angrily. 16 of them quickly rushed out. The Buddhist light in each of their hands transformed into a golden rod, forming an Arhat formation. "Since he dared to injure my elder, let's suppress him together." The young man in the lead was Putua Temple's holy son. He took the lead to set up the Arhat formation. Within the formation, an Arhat rose from the ground. It was also several hundred feet tall. The golden staff in his hand smashed towards the silver giant. With a boom, the silver giant's body emitted an earth-shaking sound, and the silver light dimmed. On the other side, Bai Qianshan's expression was ferocious. "Ignorant ant, you've completely infuriated me." Raging deity roar. With a roar, the silver spear turned into a silver dragon again and pierced through the Arhat. The spear fell, and the Arhat formation shattered. The 16 Putua Temple geniuses vomited blood and were sent flying. Ants will always be ants. Do you think that with so many ants, you can shake a dragon? How laughable. Bai Qianshan snorted coldly, and the silver giant returned to his body. The spears that filled the sky also turned into a king's domain and were put away by him. In this life, you will be trampled under my feet. You won't be able to raise your heads. I won't kill you because the taste of defeat is worse than death. Bai Qianshan sneered, turned around, and stepped into the air. Let's go and find the next opponent. When the archaic creatures heard this, they hurriedly followed. The last archaic creature turned its head and looked at the dumbfounded human martial artists with a sneer. Humans, get ready to crawl under our feet. Ha 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 ha. At this moment, everyone fell silent. He was too strong. Even a powerful senior monk like Pushun had been defeated. How many people could be his opponent? Most likely, only a peak-level genius like Leaf Dao would be able to stand up to him. Perhaps only the most terrifying elders of the older generation would be able to subdue them. Damn it, the 10,000 archaic races are really sick. The Silver Clan was not a royal family, but a royal family. Yet, they could produce such a terrifying figure. Many people gritted their teeth, unable to accept this. Some people sighed. There was nothing they could do. Bai Qianshan had a good life. Who asked him to have such a strong bloodline? Moreover, he was the 10th generation descendant. With such a bloodline inheritance, even if he did not cultivate it, he would probably be a peerless expert in the future. Moreover, he was only the 10th generation descendant. Who knew how terrifying the first generation descendant would be? Don't talk about it. I'm about to despair. Don't forget that there are still princes and princesses among the 3 royal families. Those are the descendants of the great emperors. Their bloodlines are even more terrifying. They will probably become saints as soon as they are born. These people shook their heads and sighed, their faces full of despair. Facing the 10,000 archaic races, they felt a strong sense of powerlessness. Some people exclaimed, "If I remember correctly, Bai Qianshan will probably fight with Lin Xian in a few days." Now that you mention it, I really do remember. Back then, Lin Xian had killed Bai Qianshan's younger brother in a domineering manner. Bai Qianshan would definitely not let the matter rest. I wonder if Lin Xian will be able to contend against him. Definitely. He is our middle emperor, one of the top geniuses. He will definitely be able to contend against him. Not necessarily. Many people were pessimistic. Even Pushun's 35,000 archaic power couldn't defeat Bai Qianshan. They estimated that Bai Qianshan's archaic power should be 38,000 or higher. Lin Xian might not be able to contend against him. Could it be that Lin Xian was going to be defeated? These people's faces were filled with fear. If Lin Xian was defeated, the human race would probably not be able to accept it. After all, Lin Xian was their hope now. He was given the title of Middle Emperor and was one of the top geniuses of the human race. Moreover, during the Darkness era, he had displayed unlimited combat strength and fused with his greater success divine body to suppress the chaos. To them, Lin Xian had become their pride. If Lin Xian was defeated, the impact they would receive would probably be 10 times, or even 100 times greater. Damn it, these guys are too arrogant. Ben Huang couldn't help but want to attack. In the Starry Hall, the Crimson Dragon looked at the light screen and gritted his teeth. Why are you so arrogant? If you have the ability, fight with Ben Huang one-on-one. Recently, his strength had been growing rapidly. After all, he had refined the corpses and blood of the archaic geniuses that Lin Xian had killed. How could he not grow? Chapter 2901. In addition, his bloodline power was also very terrifying. Therefore, the Crimson Dragon was definitely extremely powerful now. Seeing Lin Fan, he was very unhappy. Kid, do you have the confidence to defeat me? This guy is very strong. I wonder if he has any trump cards or tricks up his sleeve, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. However, whether he has any or not, he is not my opponent. I was thinking, should I kill him directly or should I suppress him? Kid, you are really domineering. I like you like this. Why don't we go all out and get rid of him? His blood and flesh must be delicious. The Crimson Dragon was drooling. Lin Xian rolled his eyes helplessly. You're a dragon. Don't act like a Taotai. Let's go. It is about time for us to leave. Lin Xian was ready to leave. The Crimson Dragon was howling excitedly at the side. Great. There will be a good show to watch again. As Lin Xian was leaving, another shocking piece of news came from the middle ground. A royal elder of the Tai dynasty was also defeated by Bai Qianshan. In an instant, Bai Qianshan's name swept across the entire true spirit world. Everyone was talking about him. Everyone was talking about how scary he was. What was his limit? At the same time, another battle. It was also being watched by everyone with anticipation, because soon, it was the battle between Bai Qianshan and Lin Xian. Lin Xian, one of the top geniuses of the human race, was titled emperor. He had quelled the dark chaos. It could be said that he had always been the most dazzling genius. Bai Qianshan, on the other hand, had only appeared a month ago. However, he had already challenged several terrifying invincible kings in such a short time. Until now, he had not been defeated. It could be said that he was a new force to be reckoned with. Now, he was in the limelight. What kind of sparks would be created when the two of them collided? More importantly, Lin Xian was a genius of the human race, and Bai Qianshan was a genius of the ancient race. The two races already had a grudge against each other. Now that the geniuses of the two races clashed, it ignited the emotions of both sides. The 10,000 ancient races were even more arrogant. Although the battle hadn't started yet, their taunts were already overwhelming. What Zhonghuang Lin Xian? He couldn't do it. That was because he had relied on his great success divine body to be able to strut around during the great darkness upheaval. Without his great success divine body, he was nothing. Don't think that you can show off just because you killed one of our Silver Tribe's geniuses in Watermoon City. He's still far from that. Our young master Bai Qianshan is the 10th generation descendant. His bloodline power is extremely powerful. It is not something that he can compare to. Your Central Emperor Lin Xian might be strong, but I estimate that his Archean power is only 33,000, at most 35,000. Just like Pu Shan, how could he be a match for our young master Bai Qianshan? Those ancient life forms were clamoring for supremacy. On the human race's side, everyone was panicking. Indeed, they didn't know how strong Lin Xian was. Although Lin Xian had killed several Archean geniuses before, it was just as the other party had said. Lin Xian's Archean power was estimated to be between 33 to 35,000. Such a battle prowess was already at the top of the younger generation in the human race. Even the invincible monarchs couldn't compare to him. But now, Lin Xian's opponent was the 10th generation descendant of the Silver Tribe. His opponent's battle prowess was estimated to be around 38,000. There was a difference of 3,000 Archean power, but this difference was like heaven and earth. It was enough to make people despair. Let alone 3,000 Archean powers. The difference of 1,000 Archean powers was huge. Therefore, the human race was very nervous. Among them, Murong Qingcheng was very nervous. Master, do you think Big Brother Xian can win? She didn't want Lin Xian to lose. The Queen Mother shook her head when she heard this. We don't know. We don't know how much Archean power Lin Xian has reached. However, if it's really 35,000 Archean power, it'll be very difficult to win. Even with the Great Dragon Sword Soul and 9 Yang Divine Body, won't it work? Murong Qingcheng couldn't believe it. Her face turned pale. The Queen Mother sighed. The 9 Yang Divine Body and Great Dragon Sword Soul were treasures of heaven and earth, but one had to have the strength to use them. Lin Xian wasn't weak. He was already a top genius, but his opponent was too strong. The Queen Mother wasn't the only one who thought so. The Gu family, Yi family, Daoyi Sacred Ground, Tai Dynasty, Granxia Dynasty, and all the other sacred grounds and sects had the same thought. Perhaps this time, Lin Xian might really be defeated. No way. How could he be defeated? Lin Xian hadn't lost a single battle since his debut. That is, Lin Xian's followers began to counterattack. Lin Xian definitely wouldn't lose. Just wait and see. He'll create another miracle. However, such voices were very few and were quickly drowned out. Everyone speculated that Lin Xian's peak combat power was 35,000. This was already the power of the 9 Yang Divine Body and Great Dragon Sword Soul. 35,000 was a number that even invincible kings could only look up to. But now, it didn't seem to be enough. Brother Yi, what do you think? Gu Santong came to the Yi family to meet with Yi Wudao. Yi Wudao took a deep breath. It's hard to say. If I were to fight by Qianshan, I'll win because my strength has undergone a drastic change recently. My holy body has also made a breakthrough. But I wonder what level Brother Lin has reached in his cultivation right now. No way. Gu Santong's expression was serious. Yi Wudao said. However, he still had some confidence in Brother Lin. Don't forget, he can create miracles every time. Also, did you know that my target isn't by Qianshan or the other primordial geniuses? It's Brother Lin. I think he's the only one who can be my opponent. Such a person shouldn't be defeated so easily. Hearing Yi Wudao's words, Gu Santong's expression softened a little. Why don't we ask Brother Lin if he's confident? They didn't want to speculate anymore. Forget it. Don't pressure him. Yi Wudao shook his head. Let's wait 2 days. All right then. Gu Santong could only sigh. On the other side, Shen Jingqiu crossed the void and arrived at the Jade Lake Sacred Ground to meet up with Murong Qingqi. Miss Seductress, will Brother Xian win? Why don't we go and cheer for him? Qiu I think Brother Xian needs peace at this time. Let's not go. Just stay here and support him silently. As for the other holy sons, holy daughters, the older generation experts, and all the human clan martial artists, they were all in a state of panic. Many people said, why don't we not watch this battle? Yes, it was too painful. One of the most dazzling geniuses of the human race had lost. They couldn't bear the consequences. Many chose not to watch because they couldn't bear it. The only calm place was the Immortal Palace. That was because Lin Xian didn't show any fear at all. He even sneered. Looking at the news outside, the Crimson Dragon gritted his teeth. Chapter 2902. Damn it, the Silver Clan is too arrogant. They haven't even fought yet, and they're already walking around the world as the victor? Be careful not to fall too hard when the time comes. Kid, do you want to go out and clear things up? Or do you want to challenge 2 Archean kings? The Crimson Dragon said from the side. He really couldn't take this lying down. Lin Xian waved his hand. No need. I'll let him jump around for 2 days. In 3 days, it'll be time for the duel. When the time comes, I'll let him know that the higher he stands, the harder he falls. Good kid. I'll beat him back to his original state when he's at his most arrogant. I like this feeling. The Crimson Dragon also sneered. The other Immortal Palace cultivators were also full of confidence. 3 days passed quickly. On this day, countless figures gathered at West Mountain in Central Continent. West Mountain was a very famous giant mountain in Central Continent. It was rumored that countless sages had descended here, and it had an unfathomable aura. In fact, more than one great emperor had stopped here. Therefore, the aura they left behind was enough to ensure that West Mountain wouldn't be destroyed for 10,000 years. Fierce battles occurred several times, but they still couldn't make the giant mountain collapse. Therefore, some world-shaking battles were carried out on Mount Shihua. This time, the battle between Lin Xian and Bai Qianshan was also going to be carried out here. The sky hadn't brightened yet, but West Mountain was already crowded with people. They were all here to watch the battle. Of course, some of the elders of the sacred lands didn't come, but they used the array formation to watch. After all, they wouldn't miss such a shocking battle. The void split open, and a golden figure descended. Yi Wudao led the Yi clan cultivators to a mountain peak. Countless people gathered to watch. Look, Eastern Sage is here too. Yi Wudao is here. Yi Wudao is also one of the top geniuses. I wonder how much Archean power he has. If he meets Bai Qianshan, will he win? The people began to calculate again. They heard that Yi Wudao and Lin Xian were good friends. If Lin Xian was defeated, would Yi Wudao help him? Another round of discussion rang out. Brother Yi, you're early. The void trembled, and a group of people appeared in the sky once again. Even the older generation experts did not sense this scene. It was the Gu family. Sure enough, Gu Santong had arrived with the Gu clan warriors. They first greeted Yi Wudao and the others, then landed on a nearby mountain peak. Soon after, phoenix cries sounded. The Jade Lake Holy Land's people descended, bringing with them endless brilliance and flower petals. Fairy Murong. Her relationship with Lin Xian was even more extraordinary. He wondered how she would feel if she saw Lin Xian lose. It was Murong Qingqing who came with Shun Jingqiu. Hearing this, Shun Qingqiu coldly snorted. Nonsense, Lin Xian Gij won't lose. Defeat or not, it's not up to you to decide. A sneer came from the sky. Immediately after, countless archaic creatures descended. These people had cold smiles on their faces. That Lin Xian of yours will definitely lose today. He's like a legend in your hearts. Today, our young master Bai Qianshan will break that legend. Defeat him, and let our young master Bai Qianshan be your central emperor. You ants, hurry up and kneel at our young master Bai Qianshan's feet. Maybe when the time comes, our young master will be happy and teach you one or two divine abilities. These archaic creatures did not put the human warriors in their eyes at all. Damn it, they've gone too far. The human warriors gritted their teeth in anger. However, there were also people who sighed. I told you not to come. Bai Qianshan's body was covered in silver light, like a silver god of war. He landed on the peak of West Hua Mountain and stood with his hands behind his back, looking down at the world. At this time, an archaic creature snorted. That Lin Xian? Why isn't he here yet? He's courting death. How dare he make our young master Bai Qianshan wait for him? Humph, I think he doesn't dare to come. Of course, he knows he's going to lose. Why would he come here to embarrass himself? What a piece of trash. Mockery came one after another. Bai Qianshan also frowned. He looked around. Since he doesn't dare to come, why don't you come out and play with me? His gaze swept across the people below. Those who were stared at by him trembled as if they had been pierced through. Those invincible kings felt their scalps go numb. They had no choice. The other party was too strong. Ordinary invincible kings were no match for him at all. Even the more powerful invincible kings could not compete with him. Only those top-notch elders would be able to do so. However, those people would not come out so easily. If they failed, they would lose face. Therefore, for a moment, the scene was incomparably silent. This guy was really arrogant. Gu Santong frowned. Why don't we go and play with him? He looked at Yi Wudao. Sure enough, in the sky, Bai Qianshan's gaze was also fixed on Yi Wudao. You're the Eastern Wilderness sacred body, right? I didn't expect you to come too. Well, since that Central Emperor Lin Xian doesn't dare to fight, it's the same if I fight with you, the sacred body. A cold light appeared in Bai Qianshan's eyes. On the opposite side, Yi Wudao also snorted coldly. He was very unhappy with the other party's arrogant attitude. Originally, this was Lin Xian's battle, and he did not want to come out. However, since the other party wanted to challenge him, how could he back down? With a cold shout, his golden blood chi surged into the sky, and a terrifying aura spread out. Everyone was shocked. Heavens, are the two sides really going to fight? Originally, they came to watch the battle between the other party and Lin Xian. They did not expect that Lin Xian would not come, and Yi Wudao would want to fight. Come on. Bai Qianshan waved his hand impatiently. I'll step on you, the sacred body, to intimidate these humans. Originally, I wanted to find you after killing Lin Xian. I didn't expect this battle to be brought forward. Bai Qianshan's aura became more and more terrifying. Yi Wudao was like a golden giant, shaking heaven and earth. The two of them were about to fight. However, at that moment, a sword light tore through the void in the sky and blocked the aura of the two. I remember that I should be the one to fight this battle. In the sky, a figure descended. Lin Xian is here. Lin Xian is finally here. The human martial artists exclaimed. while the ancient creatures narrowed their eyes. Humph, you really don't know what's good for you. Just you wait. You're just courting death. They sneered. Yi Wudao retracted his golden blood chi. Brother Lin, you're finally here. Lin Xian turned his head and looked at the other party, revealing a mouthful of white teeth. Leave this battle to me, Brother Yi. Okay, no problem. This was originally your battle. Yi Wudao returned to the mountain peak. Lin Xian turned his head and stared at the other party. You're that Bai Qianshan? You're quite arrogant. Boy, you actually dared to come. This is really beyond my expectations. However, whether you come or not, the result will be the same. You will definitely lose. Bai Qianshan was very domineering, and his eyes were filled with disdain. Not to mention 3 moves, even if it was 30,000 moves, the other party wouldn't be able to defeat him. To be a Bile Pei Bai Qianshan was thoroughly enraged. The aura on his body exploded. Rays of silver light shrouded him like a silver dragon. Stars in the sky. With a single strike, the sky was torn apart. Countless rays of silver light turned into huge stars and fell from the sky. Seeing this, everyone's body trembled. It's here. That's a trump card. That's right. He used this trump card when he fought with Xiamo. It's really terrifying. I wonder if Lin Xian can withstand it? Everyone was horrified. They did not expect that Bai Qianshan would use such a terrifying killing move right from the start. Lin Xian also made his move. He stretched out his hand, and the 9 suns divine palm blasted forward. Seeing this, the crowd screamed again. The 9 suns divine palm was extremely golden. It was very similar to Pu Shan's Buddha's palm. It was as if the previous battle was happening again. Why do I feel like it's similar to the battle with Pu Shan? That's right. Is Lin Xian going to be defeated like Pu Shan? Lin Xian's 9 suns divine body is extremely powerful. He won't be defeated. The crowd discussed among themselves. The Archean creatures sneered. Golden palm? That sounds familiar. It seems like he won't be able to escape death. In the sky, Bai Qianshan snorted disdainfully. The light on his body shone again. Thousands of stars fell and pierced through the void. Soon, the two collided. An earth-shattering sound reverberated in all directions. The entire sky seemed to be torn apart. Endless energy exploded and shrouded the entire space. Boom, boom, boom. The ground sank and the mountains collapsed. Other than Shihua Mountain, the incomparably huge mountain was intact. The surrounding mountains were all torn apart. The onlookers ran away frantically. Ha ha ha. Boy, I admit that you're very powerful. You're one of the best among the younger generation of the human race. Unfortunately, you've met me. How can a human ant like you know how powerful the 10,000 Archean tribes are? Bai Qianshan looked down from above. Boom. In the sky, the silver light was torn apart, and the golden uncle appeared again. The golden light on his body shone brightly. He was not injured at all. Then, he grabbed at Bai Qianshan from all directions. Bai Qianshan's sinister laughter suddenly stopped. Damn it! How could this be? The smile on his face disappeared and was replaced by a look of shock. Impossible. His body swayed, and he rushed into the sky. He flashed quickly, trying to dodge the attack. However, this move was too terrifying. It was like the palm of a god or demon, firmly locking him in place. Damn it! Get lost. Bai Qianshan was furious. He punched out with his silver fist, which also covered the sky and shook the sky. It collided with the golden palm. In the next moment, the void was torn apart again, and Bai Qianshan's body flew backward. Bang! 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 Bai Qianshan smashed more than a dozen mountains in a row before he stopped. Everyone was stunned when they saw this scene. They could not believe it at all, especially the Archean creatures. Their bodies were cold, and their eyes were filled with fear. Their peerless genius, the 10th generation son Bai Qianshan, was sent flying. How was this possible? The human martial artists were also dumbfounded. This was not what they had expected at all. Lin Xian was really strong. Ha 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 ha. I told you that our god Lin Xian would never be defeated. Just wait and see. He will definitely defeat his opponent. Many people's blood gradually boiled in their hearts. Some of the powerhouses and elders of the sacred grounds also exclaimed in surprise. The 9 young divine body was indeed too powerful. In terms of physique, he could actually suppress the Silver Clan. Before anyone could react, Lin Xian strode forward. His body bloomed with light, and like a god of war, he suppressed all directions and sealed the entire space. In an instant, he arrived nearby Qinshan again. Chapter 2904. You're courting death, you brat. I'm going to kill you. Bai Tianshan charged out from the rubble. His white hair fluttered in the wind, and a murderous aura surged from his body. His eyes were bloodshot, and his handsome face was hideous. He was pushed back. He was actually sent flying by an ant in his eyes. He couldn't stand it. He had to wash away the humiliation with his opponent's blood. Silver Spear Raging God. With a cold shout, the king's domain rushed out and turned into a silver spear in the sky. Spiritual energy from all directions quickly gathered. The void couldn't withstand it, and black holes appeared one after another. This scene shocked the crowd once again. They had seen the power of the silver spear with their own eyes. It was terrifying. It was the same spear that had pierced through the invincible western desert monk Pu Shan. Die! With a furious roar, the silver spear in the sky suddenly stabbed down. Its aura was like a dragon, swallowing the entire void. It charged at Lin Xian crazily. This attack was enough to kill an invincible king. Dodge! Many people on the human side exclaimed. They felt that even if Lin Xian had the 9 young divine body, he wouldn't be able to resist the spear. That was because the spear was too terrifying. Morong Qingqing, Shen Jingqiu, and the others were extremely nervous. Yi Wudao's face was also solemn. However, Lin Xian didn't dodge at all. He looked at the spear descending from the sky and raised his head. A biting cold light appeared in his eyes. In the next moment, he formed a hand seal and mobilized the great dragon sword soul in his body. Countless sword chi intertwined and quickly condensed behind him, forming a golden flower. What? That's? The martial artists on the human side were stunned. The ancient lifeform side also stared with wide eyes. The monks of the western desert shrieked. The flower blooms. Damn it! How did he know this divine ability? The flower blooms was a western desert Buddhist divine ability. These people were familiar with it because Pu Shan had used it once a few days ago. However, Lin Xian was using it again. They couldn't believe it. With the great dragon sword soul, he could imitate everything. The older generation experts shrieked, and the others were filled with envy. That's right. How could they forget that Lin Xian still had the great dragon sword soul? Because of this, he was hunted down by countless people. Flowers blooming for a lifetime? In the sky, Bai Qinshan's lips curled into a disdainful smile. Kid, you really are an idiot. It's a pity that the great dragon sword soul is in your hands. Don't worry, after I kill you, I will extract the great dragon sword soul from your body. He revealed a ferocious smile. This was because if Lin Xian used any other sacred art, he would still be afraid. However, although the simulated blooming flower mystique was powerful, he had destroyed it once not too long ago. Now, it wouldn't be difficult to destroy it a second time. Boom, boom. In the sky, the silver divine spear descended rapidly, wanting to pierce through everything. Pong. Boundless energy exploded, and terrifying silver light surged, completely engulfing Lin Xian. The space in all directions was constantly shattering. Everyone's eyes widened. Bai Qinshan looked up to the sky and laughed. Haha, kid, go to hell. Those ancient creatures were equally ferocious. However, soon, in the endless light, a golden light tore through the void, revealing the scene in front. What? Bai Qinshan was stunned. Everyone was stunned. The scene in front of them was completely different from what they had imagined. Lin Xian was surrounded by the golden flower cage, but he was unharmed. His face was still so calm, but the battle intent in his eyes was getting colder and colder. Unharmed? Damn it! How could it be? That was his ultimate sacred art. Even the powerful Pu Shan couldn't block it. How could the young man in front of them block it? The second move. Lin Xian opened his mouth, and his voice resounded in all directions. What? Everyone's body stiffened, and their eyes were filled with shock. The second move? Heavens, could it be that this kid really wants to kill his opponent in 3 moves? But how could that be? Now that 2 moves had passed, there was only one left. Could Lin Xin defeat his opponent in 1 move? They didn't dare to believe it. Damn it! Bai Qinshan was so angry that he vomited blood. How could his opponent dare to say that he could defeat him in 3 moves? Kid, let's see how you're going to defeat me in 1 move. Bai Qinshan roared, and the bloodline power in his body bloomed. A silver giant rushed out. Raging deity roar. The silver giant stood tall and grabbed the silver spear, and a terrifying aura burst out. Kill. With a roar, the silver spear stabbed forward like a dragon. This attack was much fiercer than the previous one, so much so that everyone's expression changed. The invincible kings began to tremble. Brother Xian, Xin Jingqiu and Morong Qingqing's faces were pale. Yi Wudao's expression was solemn. His body emitted light, and a part of the world was frozen. To be honest, this spear also posed a great threat to him. He wondered if Brother Lin could withstand it. Dodge! Dodge quickly! Those who followed him roared crazily. They knew that they couldn't take it head-on. It was this move that directly pierced through the invincible monk of the western desert and nailed him to the ground. However, to their shock, Lin Xian still didn't dodge. Looking at the third move, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. Open! With a light chuckle, the golden flower behind him slowly opened. 6 petals bloomed at the same time. A terrifyingly sharp aura filled the air. The entire void trembled. Everyone was terrified. The weak ones prostrated on the ground, and the strong ones were shocked. Many invincible kings' bodies were cracked, and blood flowed out. The ancient creatures screamed crazily and knelt on the ground, trembling. Damn it, what kind of aura is this? It's too terrifying. What appeared in the golden flower? They didn't know. Because the 6 petals of the Bodhisattva had not fully opened, so they didn't know what was inside. However, Lin Xian's golden flower was not a Buddhist skill at all. It was evolved from the dragon sword spirit. Who knew what would happen after the 6 petals bloomed? However, they could imagine that it was an extremely terrifying killing move. Even the invincible kings couldn't withstand the aura alone. In the sky, Bai Qinshan's expression changed drastically. He sensed a strong sense of death. Damn it, this is impossible. Destroy! He roared, and his bloodline power erupted again. He had to seize the opportunity and not let the other party's 6 petals fully open. The silver spear and the silver giant, which had dimmed because of the opening of the 6 petals, burst out with dazzling light again, illuminating the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The spear was like a dragon, and its power skyrocketed. It was over. Lin Xian's expression was calm. He waved his arm, and the 6 golden petals opened completely. A golden sword appeared in the middle of the petals. As he waved his arm, it shot into the sky. Buzz! It was like a golden dragon that cut through the entire world. Chapter 2905. The void was instantly split in half. The silver spear collided with the golden sword, producing a clanging sound. However, it did not put up any resistance at all. It was torn apart. Whoosh! Poof! The silver giant's huge head was also pierced through. It let out an unwilling roar and dissipated into spiritual energy. No! Damn it! How is this possible? Bai Qinshan screamed crazily. His face was full of shock. His ultimate move, the divine power activated by his bloodline power, was broken by his opponent's sword. He could not believe it at all. In the next moment, he was scared out of his wits. That was because the golden sword light was quickly charging toward him and enveloping him in an instant. Damn it! Block it! Bai Qinshan roared. Although the situation was critical, he was still the 10th generation descendant. His strength was so powerful that it made people tremble. How could he not have a backup plan? In an instant, a shield appeared between his eyebrows. He opened his mouth and spat out a silver river that filled the sky in front of him. The armor shone brightly, and in an instant, 3 layers of powerful defense enveloped him. Bai Qianshan heaved a sigh of relief. Great. Now, even if several invincible kings attacked together, they would not be able to break through his defense. Kid, let's see. Poof. Before he could finish his words, a golden sword light directly cut his body in half. The shield, the silver river, and the armor were all useless. Under the sword, everything was turned into ashes. Silver blood splattered all over the sky, and the two halves of the corpse fell from the sky. The miserable sound made everyone's scalp tingle. What? He was cut open? These people had gone crazy. The human martial artists exclaimed, and the Archean creatures fainted. Bai Qianshan was cut in half by a sword. How is this possible? At this moment, the elders and even the sect leader who were watching through the array twitched their eyelids. They knew Bai Qianshan's strength. With 38,000 Archean power, no one in the younger generation was a match for him. Those older invincible kings did not dare to fight with him rashly. He could be said to be a young demon king who could sweep through everything. But now, he was cut in half by a sword. This scene was too terrifying. Damn kid, I'm going to kill you, Bai Qianshan roared. His body quickly soared into the sky, wanting to heal. Seeing this scene, everyone cried out in alarm. He didn't die, he was just injured. Indeed, it was very difficult to kill such a powerful genius like Bai Qianshan. It was likely that Bai Qianshan would not let his guard down, and he would not go around Lin Xian. The ancient creature screamed again. Young master, are you all right? Kill him. Young master, you must kill him. They screamed like crazy. Bai Qianshan used his great magic power to heal his body. Lin Xian raised his head and let out a cold harumph. Instantly, his body, which was just about to heal, split open once again. Whoosh! Lin Xian appeared in front of him like a shooting star. He stepped out and stomped the other party onto the ground. A sword appeared at his fingertips, and the light was pressed against the other party's forehead. Bai Qianshan's body stiffened, and even his soul began to tremble. He realized that his opponent's sword chi could not only threaten his body, it could even threaten his soul. Damn brat, what do you want? The surrounding ancient creatures screamed crazily and rushed forward. However, they were all sent flying by Lin Xian's palm. The huge palm covered the sky and sent dozens of ancient creatures flying. Kid, I'm warning you. This is the peerless genius of the Silver Clan, the 10th generation descendant. If you dare to touch him, you're dead meat. In addition to the ancient creatures, there were many other geniuses who were watching the battle. At this moment, when they saw this scene, they let out a cold harumph. If you say another word, you'll die. Lin Xian did not pay attention to these people. With his back facing them, he said something. His voice was like thunder, forming a golden cloud above the ancient geniuses. A terrifying sword shadow appeared. Seeing this scene, the ancient geniuses' eyelids twitched, and they quickly shut their mouths. It was too terrifying. They felt that their lives were in danger. They snorted coldly and did not say anything. However, there was a sneer in their eyes. If Bai Qianshan really dared to make a move, he would be dead meat. Sure enough, Bai Qianshan was fearless. Kid, kill me if you have the guts. Let's see if the Silver Clan can let you go. Kill you? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. You're thinking too much. I remember that you once said that death is more painful than death. Failure is worse than death, so don't worry, I won't kill you. I will let you live forever, forever remember the scene of your failure today. From today onwards, you'll be my defeated opponent for the rest of your life. Lin Xian's voice was like a sharp sword that pierced into Bai Qianshan's heart. Bai Qianshan roared at the sky and screamed crazily. Damn kid, I'm not convinced. Let me go if you dare. Let's fight another 300 rounds. 300 rounds? You can't even block one of my attacks. What are you not convinced about? Lin Xian snorted coldly. Today, I'll make you kneel at my feet. As he said that, he waved his hand and grabbed Bai Qianshan's head. How dare you? Bai Qianshan went crazy. If he really knelt at Lin Xian's feet, he would not be able to live anymore. Die, he shouted angrily, trying to break free from the golden palm. However, endless dragon-shaped sword chi erupted from Lin Xian's palm. It completely sealed his body. Damn it, How is this possible? I can't break free. Bai Qinshan's face was ferocious. Bloodline power. Burn. Right now, he was willing to pay any price to break free. However, the power of his bloodline was of no use. The great dragon sword soul destroyed everything he had. He could not resist at all. He was pressed to the ground by the golden palm and kowtowed 10 times. Everyone was stunned by this scene. Oh God, the terrifying Archean prodigy, the 10th generation grandchild, is kowtowing to Lin Xian. This made them feel dizzy. The Archean creatures screamed, especially the Archean creatures from the Silver Clan. They rushed over as if they had gone crazy. Damn it! Let go of our young master. They had all gone crazy. Bai Qinshan's status was extremely noble. He represented the Silver Clan in the outside world. Now that Bai Qinshan was kowtowing to Lin Xian, didn't that mean that the Silver Clan was kowtowing to him? Their opponent was a human. Why would the Silver Clan kowtow to a human? Therefore, these people did not care about anything else and rushed over crazily. Rays of silver light danced in the air. Flying swords, sabers, galaxies, and meteorites filled the sky. These Archean creatures activated their divine abilities and rushed toward Lin Xian without any regard for their lives. However, Lin Xian destroyed all of them with a punch. Dozens of Archean creatures were turned into blood, dyeing the ground red. If you're not afraid of death, then come at me. I'll accompany you to the end. Lin Yuxuan's voice was sonorous. He was like a demon god standing on the ground. At this moment, everyone was trembling. The Archean creatures were even more so. He was too powerful. Killing them was no different from killing ants. Lin Xian said in a clear voice as he looked around disdainfully after shocking everyone with a single punch. Everyone has seen what happened today. I defeated Bai Qinshan in 3 moves. From now on, he won't be able to be arrogant in front of us humans. At the same time, I want to tell everyone that the 10,000 Archean tribes are not scary, and Archean prodigies are nothing. Although we humans don't have a particularly powerful bloodline, we have an invincible heart. We have the belief to reach the peak of martial arts. All of this is our most precious treasure. Without an invincible heart and the belief to win, what's the point of having a noble bloodline? Lin Xian's words were like a raging fire that ignited the hearts of the surrounding martial artists. For a moment, these martial artists clenched their fists, their faces full of excitement. Chapter 2906. This little guy was restoring the confidence of the human clan. Yi Jia, the elders of the Gu family, and the Jade Pool nodded in relief when they saw this. The human clan had suffered too many blows and urgently needed someone to restore their confidence. Lin Xian was undoubtedly one of the best candidates. Lin Xian did not have the power of bloodline, but he defeated Bai Qinshan, who had an extremely strong bloodline, and even trampled him under his feet. He made Bai Qinshan kowtow. This was definitely something that made people's blood boil. When they saw the human clan warriors, their eyes were filled with hope and excitement. Lin Xian also smiled. He let go of his hand and threw Bai Qinshan out. Get lost. Lin Xian turned around and walked forward. Behind him, Bai Qinshan regained his freedom, but he was trembling with anger. His face was extremely ferocious. I will definitely kill you. The power of bloodline in his body burned quickly. He opened his mouth and turned into a peerless flying sword. He killed his way out. This was his secret technique. It was a secret technique that he did not hesitate to use. It could kill people above his level. Although the consequences of doing so would cause him to be seriously injured and even need to recuperate for a year or 2 to recover, he could not care less. However, he couldn't care less. Only by killing this brat in front of him could he vent the hatred in his heart. Not good. As soon as the flying sword appeared, ghosts wailed and wolves howled. There were even blood-red lightning bolts falling between heaven and earth. One could imagine how fatal this sword was. The elders and experts all cried out in alarm, and the human race martial artists even screamed out loud. Damn it! No! Their hearts were in their throats. Murong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu also exclaimed, Brother Xian, dodge. Brother Lin Xian, be careful. All of this happened in an instant. When everyone was exclaiming, the blood-red flying sword had already attacked Lin Xian's back. It wanted to pierce through his body. Clang! Lin Xian did not look back. He stretched out 2 fingers and caught the blood-red flying sword. These 2 fingers were golden and shone brightly. There were endless dragon-shaped swords she wrapped around them. They were like 2 giant dragons that grabbed the blood-red flying sword tightly. The blood-red flying sword could not move at all. What? He caught it. This was impossible. The Archean prodigy's eyelids twitched in disbelief. This blood-red killing sword was definitely one of the strongest killing moves. The other party was actually able to block it so easily. Could it be that the other party's strength was far beyond their imagination? I spared your dog life just now, but you actually don't know what's good for you and dare to sneak attack me? Do you really think that I won't dare to do anything to you? Lin Xian's cold voice sounded. Then, he waved his arm, and the icy blood-colored flying sword flew back at an even faster speed. Noah! A miserable shriek was heard as Bai Qianshan's body was pushed back again. His abdomen had been pierced through by the blood-red long sword, and he was nailed to the ground. His miserable voice sounded like the roar of a malicious spirit. He wasn't dead. This allowed Bai Qian to heave a sigh of relief, but in the next moment, his face was filled with despair. It was even worse than death, the reason being that his cultivation was crippled. The other party had directly destroyed his spiritual sea and shattered his meridians. This caused his extremely powerful battle prowess to be reduced to nothing. At this moment, he was no different from a mortal. No, Bai Qianshan screamed like a madman. He could not accept this at all. One had to know that this was worse than death. This was because he had gone from a peerless genius to an ordinary person in an instant. How could he accept this huge difference? The others were also stunned, especially the primordial geniuses. Their faces were filled with shock. The other party had actually crippled Bai Qianshan. This was definitely going to pierce through the heavens. One had to know that Bai Qianshan was the 10th generation descendant. His status was extremely noble. The Silver Clan would definitely not let this kid in front of them go. The evils he brought on himself were the hardest to bear. Lin Xian snorted coldly and ignored Bai Qianshan. He turned around and walked toward Murong Qingqing and Xinjingqiu. Brother Xian. The 2 women were also excited. They heaved a sigh of relief and threw themselves into Lin Xian's arms. Let's go. It's too chaotic here. Let's find a place to chat. Lin Xian took the 2 women and soared into the sky. Looking at Lin Xian's back as he left, everyone was shocked. Until now, their minds were still a little blank. That was because the scene that happened just now was too shocking. They needed to digest it properly. Middle ground. In a palace in the Great Xia dynasty, the martial artists of the dynasty were cultivating. One of them opened the palace door and rushed in, causing the other disciples of the royal family to open their eyes. Xiaoyu, what's going on? Can't you see that we're cultivating? That's right. By the way, I heard that you went to watch the battle. How was it? Did Lin Xian lose? I told you not to watch such a battle. It'll only hurt our morale. That's right. Bai Qianshan was too powerful. Even the elders of the royal family could not compete with him. Not to mention Lin Xian. The disciples of the royal family shook their heads and sighed. They did not go to watch the battle, nor did they use the array formation to watch. That was because they felt that there was nothing to watch in this battle. Lin Xian would definitely lose. Seeing this, he felt stifled. He might as well cultivate in silence. Improving their strength was the way to go. The corner of the royal family disciple named Xia Yu's mouth twitched. He did not say anything. Instead, he threw a disc array on the ground. I won't say anything. Watch for yourselves. What are you looking at? The battle between Lin Xian and Bai Qianshan? You're not deliberately making us lose our appetite, are you? The martial artists of the royal family shook their heads. Xia Yu said, let's watch it first. Trust me, it will definitely subvert your understanding. Will it really subvert our understanding? The disciples of the royal family frowned. Could it be that both sides are tied? Damn, if that's the case, I have to watch it. This Lin Xian is quite powerful. Is the human race already able to compete with the 10,000 Archean races? The disciples of the royal family opened the disc array. Countless runes intertwined on it, forming a light screen that recorded the previous battle. A few seconds later, they screamed, "Damn! How is that possible? Damn it! You didn't make a formation to trick us, did you?" The disciples of the royal family all went crazy. "Why are you screaming instead of cultivating?" At that moment, an elder walked over and frowned. "Elder, did you watch today's battle?" It was the battle between Lin Xian and Bai Qianshan. One of the disciples of the royal family asked. When the elder heard that, he snorted coldly. "What are you looking at? Bai Qianshan is too terrifying. I'm afraid that no one in the human race will be able to compete with him in a short period of time. So, you guys should cultivate well. In 100 or 200 years, you might be able to compete with him." Hearing that, the disciples of the royal family in the hall swallowed their saliva. One of the little girls said, "Elder, take a look at this. What are you looking at? You guys are getting lazier and lazier." The elder of the royal family was dissatisfied. "No, elder. This is the battle between Lin Xian and Bai Qianshan. However, the result of the battle is somewhat out of our expectations. Originally, the elder of the royal family refused to watch the battle. However, when he saw the disciples' expressions as if they had seen a ghost, he was very curious. Forget it. At most, I'll just take a look. At most, I'll suffer a little more." In the next moment, he raised his head and glanced at the light screen. Then, he was dumbfounded. Chapter 2907. How is that possible? The royal family elder was shocked because what was shown on the screen was completely different from what he had imagined. In his imagination, Lin Xian would definitely not be able to defeat Bai Qianshan. No matter how powerful he would at most be able to contend with him. But now, the screen showed that Lin Xian was completely crushing Bai Qianshan. He defeated Bai Qianshan in 3 moves. He even crippled Bai Qianshan in the end. The royal family elder could not believe it at all. After a long time, he asked in a trembling voice, "Who gave you the array? Is the news reliable?" Xia Yu said hurriedly, "Elder, this news is definitely reliable." Hearing this, the royal family elder took a deep breath. He knew that they had underestimated Lin Xian. As one of the top geniuses of the human race, Lin Xian was simply too powerful. His strength had probably far exceeded their expectations. Sure enough, at this moment, not only the great Xia dynasty, but all the sacred grounds and sects were shocked. To be honest, although this battle was famous, not many people went to watch it because they all thought that it was a losing battle. They did not want to watch it. But now, through the recording of the array, they finally saw the complete battle. Everyone was extremely shocked. "No way, am I blind? This must be a dream. Damn it. How is this possible? He defeated a genius of the 10,000 Archean tribes in 3 moves. Isn't Bai Qianshan very powerful? He defeated senior monk Shimo and is said to be the 10th generation descendant. Why are you so weak? What do you know? Lin Xian is too powerful. It's unbelievable that the human race has such a genius. Will he become the next great emperor of the human race?" These people exclaimed. However, there were also people who were worried that Lin Xian would really break the sky. Yes, he actually crippled Bai Qianshan. The Silver Tribe will definitely not let this go. Indeed, Bai Qianshan was the 10th generation descendant of the Silver Tribe. His status was extremely noble. How could the Silver Tribe swallow this insult when he was crippled? They would definitely kill Lin Xian mercilessly. For a moment, everyone was discussing animatedly. While they were excited, they were also worried. It wasn't just the great sects of the human race. The 10,000 primordial races also learned of this news. They had also obtained some formations and recorded battle scenes. When they saw Lin Xian kill his opponent in 3 moves, they were all terrified. Damn it, this is impossible. How could this brat be so powerful? It's over. He's dead meat. The Buying clan would never let him off. This Lin Xian was really a troublemaker. Let's see how he's going to clean up this mess. A series of cold laughter rang out. Even though these 10,000 ancient race beings were shocked, they knew that Lin Xian was definitely dead this time around. The Buying clan would definitely be furious. That's right, the Buying clan was furious. They directly mobilized several dozen archaic kings, blotting out the sky and covering the earth to kill Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian had already left. He even brought Murong Qingqing and Shun Jingqiu back to the Immortal Palace. This caused these archaic kings to miss their target. They couldn't find a way to deal with him at all. These archaic kings were so angry that they vomited blood. However, they still searched crazily. For a time, the figures of the Baiyin clan and the archaic kings could be seen all over the world. However, after searching for more than 10 days, they still couldn't find Lin Xian. These archaic kings of the Baiyin clan could only give up. They swore that the next time Lin Xian appeared, they would definitely capture him and bring him back. This Lin Xian had already grown. It would probably be difficult to kill him. That's right, this kid was indeed powerful. He had the 9-yang creation body and the great dragon sword soul, these two extremely terrifying trump cards. Probably very few people in the younger generation could be compared to him. Not to mention the younger generation. Even those invincible kings were not his match. However, if a sage were to attack, they would definitely be able to kill him easily. But would a sage really dare to attack? Not to mention the primordial alliance. Just the fact that Xia Jia was related to Lin Xian was probably unrivaled. Don't forget that his father, Lin Zhan, was also an extremely terrifying sage. There was also Lord Alcohol, who had the devouring sword. 3 such super sages stood behind Lin Xian. It was likely that a sage wouldn't dare to kill him. Otherwise, the races of those sages would probably be in danger of being exterminated. In fact, even without a sage, those archaic kings could kill Lin Xian 7 times. It was just that they didn't have the chance. These people discussed intensely, but gradually, they stopped talking about Lin Xian's matter. This was because the aura emitted by Sky River City in the sky was getting more and more terrifying. It was as if a world of fire had descended. It floated above everyone's heads. The entire sky was dyed red. Everyone was excited because according to the Fire Qilin Cave, they would be able to enter Skyflame City in a day or 2. During this period of time, the legend of Skyflame City had already spread. Everyone knew that this was an incomparably mysterious city. Even the great emperors couldn't see through it. Moreover, there were endless natural treasures in the city, including the precious Skyflame. If one could obtain the Skyflame, it would be equivalent to obtaining a self-strengthening power. After absorbing it, one's strength would definitely undergo earth-shattering changes. If a fire elemental martial artist obtained it, their fire elemental mystiques would improve by leaps and bounds. This was a temptation to everyone, especially fire elemental martial artists. That's great. If I can get it, my strength will definitely become even more powerful. Yi Wudao's eyes shone with a cold light. This Skyflame would also be very helpful to him in cultivating the sacred body. Skyflame? It just so happens that the elixir I've been refining recently lacks a mysterious flame to assist me. In the wavering light sacred ground, the wavering light saint's eyes flickered. 108 god fiends surrounded him. Although the wavering light saint didn't have a terrifying bloodline, his strength was incomparably terrifying. He was one of the few people in the eastern wilderness who could be compared to Yi Wudao. Furthermore, he hadn't been defeated in several battles with archaic geniuses. This let everyone know that the wavering light saint was extraordinary. If I can obtain the Skyflame, I should be able to refine my weapon. South Mountain, Yin family. Yin Nantian also had a look of excitement. Recently, he had been refining a terrifying weapon and had reached the final stage. If he obtained the Skyflame, he would be able to complete the final upgrade. As for that weapon, once he succeeded in refining it, his strength would also increase exponentially. Therefore, this time, he was also determined to obtain it. It wasn't just these human geniuses. The 10,000 archaic races were also incomparably excited. Among them, the Fire Qilin Cave was determined to obtain it because they had received instructions from the Qilin Crown Prince that they had to obtain the Skyflame. The Phoenix race was also born of desire. They also needed this Skyflame. In the nest of 10,000 dragons, the Fire Dragon race was even more excited. It could be said that the goal of countless powerhouses and geniuses was all the mysterious Skyflame. In the Immortal Palace, Lin Xian also stood up. Was Skyflame City finally going to open? It really made one look forward to it. Chapter 2908. Brother Xian, do you need that mysterious heavenly fire? Murong Qingcheng, who was standing on the side, stood up from his arms. Lin Xian nodded. Indeed, the 9 yang divine body required all kinds of mystical flames. If I can obtain this heavenly fire, my 9 yang divine body will improve again. Don't worry, Brother Lin Xian. We'll definitely get it for you. Xin Jingqiu, who was standing beside him, waved her little fist and said, It's about time. Let's go. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. Qingqing, Qiu I'll open the realm gate and send you back to Jade Pool and Purple Dawn Sacred Land. Gather your elders and experts. We'll meet outside Skyfire City. All right. Murong Qingqing nodded. Brother Lin Xian, I'll be back soon. Shun Jingqiu was also reluctant to part. Lin Xian had the Crimson Dragon open the realm gate and send the two away. Soon, the two figures disappeared into the void. Lin Xian waved his hand and called Lin Xuanxian, Chief Protector, and the other experts over. They gathered their forces and prepared to set off for Skyfire City. It wasn't just a mortal palace. At this moment, whether it was the 10,000 ancient races or the human sacred lands, all of them were gathering their geniuses and experts to prepare to set off. In an instant, countless figures moved. A terrifying pressure filled the sky, covering the 9 heavens. Apart from the sages, the top geniuses, and the terrifying invincible kings all moved out. Below Skyfire City, figures moved. It was bustling with noise and excitement. Of course, when the human race and the 10,000 ancient races met, they would inevitably clash. Before Skyfire City even began, there were already several fierce battles below. Even Yi Wudao made a move, forcing the Golden Rock race's genius to retreat. Look, the Buying clan is here. Someone cried out in surprise. Everyone turned their heads and looked into the distance. The void in the distance tore apart as powerful figures descended from the sky. Silver runes shone on their bodies, suppressing the 9 heavens. After they descended, they looked around disdainfully. However, some people sneered. Oh, isn't this the Silver Race? You still have the face to come? I remember the 10th generation descendant of the Silver Race. He had just been killed. The person who said this was none other than a martial artist from the Yi family. As a clan of the ancients, they were not afraid of the Silver Clan. The Silver folk were vile, and had dared to provoke Leaf Daudinier. How could they not be mocking and ridiculing him? Yeah, if it were me, I definitely wouldn't come. The disciples of the Gu family also joined in the fun. As a clan of the Huanggu clan, they possessed an extremely great heritage and possessed extreme weapons. Therefore, he was not afraid of this uncrowned king at all. Do you want to die? The geniuses from the Silver Clan were so angry that they vomited blood. The piercing sword light in his eyes turned into streaks of rainbows that tore through the void. Do you think I'm scared of you? The golden blood chi of the disciples of the Yi family surged. On the other side, the disciples of the Gu family turned into nothingness and attacked the mysterious universe. The atmosphere became tense in an instant. Countless gazes fell on the Silver Clan. The people of the Buying clan felt extremely uncomfortable being stared at like this. One of the primordial geniuses snorted coldly. What's the big deal? That Lin Xian of the human race only used despicable means to sneak up on one of our geniuses. Otherwise, our geniuses wouldn't have bowed to him. That's right. Who does that kid think he is? He can't hide after sneaking up on us. Come out if you dare. The geniuses of the Silver Clan will definitely crush him to death. These people were furious. They hadn't found any trace of Lin Xian in the past few days. Their assassination plan had been for naught. Keep bragging. Your 10th generation grandchild, Fun, has been crippled. Among the geniuses of the Silver Clan, how many of them are stronger than your 10th generation grandchild? Fortunately, Lin Xian wasn't here. Otherwise, none of you would have dared to even let out a fart. That's right. In front of God Lin Xian, you're nothing but ants. For a moment, the two sides were in a heated argument. At this time, the other primordial races interjected. Where is that Lin Xian? Tell him to come out if you dare. He's a genius of the Blood Moon clan. Oh, you still dare to come out now? Aren't you afraid of being killed by a sword? Have you forgotten the taste of the divine 9 yang body? Gu Santong sneered. The Divine Nine young body is strong, but it's not invincible. The battle physique of the War Clan is the true, unparalleled battle strength. The people of the War Clan also came. This was one of Lin Xian's old rivals. They had been silent for a while. Who would have thought that this time, with the appearance of Skyfire City, the war race would finally appear? The War Clan used to belong to the 10,000 Archean races, and they were a branch of the Archean royal races. They were very powerful. Their clan's battle physique was said to be unparalleled in battle strength. It could be said that their battle strength was terrifying. At this moment, when these words came out, the surrounding people all gasped. Even the geniuses of the 10,000 Archean races had serious expressions. The power of the unparalleled battle physique was famous in the past. It didn't lose to the Divine Nine young body. Is the battle physique that powerful? I remember back then, you were suppressed by God Lin Xian until you couldn't breathe, right? You still dare to come out now? Lin Xian's followers sneered. Wu Hua also snorted. The clone of the number one genius of the War Clan was killed by Brother Lin. You can't forget this, right? You're courting death. The warriors of the War Clan were so angry that they vomited blood. They were so angry that their teeth itched. Indeed, back then, Lin Xian had killed the clone of their number one genius. At that time, it had caused a huge uproar and everyone knew about it. They thought that after a period of time, they would have forgotten about it. They didn't expect that they would be kicked out again. This was like rubbing salt into their wounds. However, soon, a female disciple of the War Clan snorted. What's the big deal? It's just a clone. This time, our number one genius's main body will come. No matter how strong that Lin Xian is, why don't you let him come out? Let's see if he still dares to be arrogant in front of our number one genius. What? The number one genius of the War Clan is coming out? Everyone was shocked. This was a terrifying enemy, especially those of the younger generation. It was as if they were facing a great enemy. The other party was definitely a powerful opponent that couldn't be underestimated. Even Yi Wudao, Gu Santong, the Alcade Saint, and the others frowned. The unparalleled battle physique was indeed very strong. The 10,000 ancient races prodigies were also discussing it. Boom. At this moment, the void suddenly collapsed, and a powerful force suppressed the surroundings, and everyone was sent flying. Even the ancient prodigies and human geniuses used their king domains to resist. Damn it! Who is it? So strong. Heavens, this aura is too terrifying. Could it be that the number one genius of the War Clan has appeared? Those people exclaimed. However, the expressions of the War Clan's people weren't good because they were also affected. This made them realize that it wasn't their number one genius. Then who was it? Who was so arrogant? Who dared to come in such a manner? Chapter 2909. Everyone turned their heads to look. Even the older generation figures and invincible kings had eyes that were like rainbows. They also wanted to know who it was. Amidst the endless shattered void, a figure slowly appeared. He was tall and big, like a fiend god. His eyes were sharp, and he looked disdainfully. What? It's him. One of the human race elders trembled and exclaimed. The others were also shocked because they recognized who this person was. Yin Nantian, the peerless genius of the Yin family, the number one genius of the South Ridge, and the person known as the South Emperor. After all, he was just as famous as Lin Xian and Leaf Dao Denier. More importantly, it was rumored that he had received the inheritance of a great emperor. This was extremely shocking to everyone. Was it him? The holy sons and holy daughters of the human race were shocked. Yi Wudao and the Alcade holy sons' eyes shone with a cold light, and their bodies were filled with battle intent. The 10,000 ancient races prodigies also had serious expressions. However, a few of them smiled and even went up to greet him. Brother Yin, I didn't expect you to be here. In the past, powerful primordial beings had come to the Yin family and had a secret meeting with the Yin family head and Yin Nantian. To a certain extent, the Yin family and the 10,000 ancient races had formed an alliance. Therefore, these primordial prodigies and Yin Nantian had a cooperative relationship. Hearing this, the human race cultivators were stunned. Their eyes widened in disbelief. What was going on? These primordial prodigies were greeting Yin Nantian, and their attitudes were so good? This was too unbelievable. After all, not even top geniuses like Leaf Daodinier, Lin Xian, or Dustless had ever received such treatment. Not to mention the younger generation. Even the elders and sect masters didn't receive such treatment. But now, Yin Nantian was receiving such treatment. It was absolutely unbelievable that so many primordial prodigies greeted him. Yes, Yin Nantian nodded slightly and landed to the side, ignoring everyone's surprised gazes. What was going on? Was there some relationship between Yin Nantian and these primordial prodigies? Everyone was discussing, and many elders of the Holy Lands were frowning. Looks like the Yin family is more complicated than we thought. They actually have connections with the 10,000 ancient races. Did they betray the human race? One of the elders had an ugly look on his face. Impossible. Did he not want to live anymore? He dared to betray the human race. These people discussed and speculated. Very soon, they exclaimed in shock because there was a supreme expert descending from the sky. When the newcomers arrived, the faces of the archaic creatures darkened, especially those from the Silver tribe. Within the clan, many experts were trembling with anger. A terrifying murderous aura shot up into the sky, as if it wanted to destroy the entire world. That damn brat, he actually came. The humans were also extremely shocked. He actually dared to come here? Wasn't he afraid of the Silver Tribe's revenge? What was there to be afraid of? He wasn't alone this time. Who would be a match for him in a one-on-one fight? Do you think Immortal Palace will be afraid of the Buying clan? He thought about Xiajuyo. After the dark turmoil last time, they knew that Immortal Palace had an extremely terrifying super saint, precisely Xiajuyo. Someone like that could easily send the great ancestor flying with a slap. Furthermore, he could even catch an imperial armament with his bare hands. With such a person around, who would dare to harm Immortal Palace? Yi Wudao, Gu Santong, Wu Hua, and the others grinned. Brother Lin, you're here. That's right, it was Lin Xian and his group. Lin Xian descended from the sky with Immortal Palace's experts and walked out of the gate. He looked around. When he saw the archaic creature's unfriendly expressions, he snorted coldly. When he felt the Buying clan's murderous aura, he even sneered. The other party wanted to kill him, but how could he not want to kill the 10,000 archaic creatures? He knew that these people wouldn't dare to act recklessly. So what if they did? He wasn't afraid of them. Lin Xian greeted Yi Wudao, Gu Santong, Wu Hua, and the others with a smile. Then, he met up with Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu. Qingqing, Qiu-er. Lin Xian walked over. Brat, get over here and die. Frenzied roars rang out. The Buying clan was about to go crazy. From the beginning until now, the other party had only glanced at them and ignored them. What was the meaning of this? Ignoring them? They released such a terrifying murderous aura that the entire world trembled. No one dared to ignore them. Whoosh! In an instant, more than 10 archaic creatures descended and surrounded Lin Xian. Terrifying light bloomed from their bodies, and terrifying silver runes lit up the world. It made those martial artists tremble in fear. Sure enough, they attacked. Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu's expressions changed. Lin Xian stopped, turned around, and shouted coldly, "If you don't want to die, scram!" Following his angry roar, Li Xuanxian, the chief protector, and the others also rose, their bodies emitting terrifying light. Saint weapons even appeared, and terrifying saint aura swept through the world. Everyone's expression changed. The Buying clan's experts also frowned, but they didn't retreat. Using saint weapons? Do you think you're the only ones with saint weapons? They also took out 2 saint weapons. The terrifying aura once again caused the void to crack, and countless cracks appeared. A great battle was about to break out. Suddenly, a few terrifying figures descended. Stop! A monstrous sea of fire spread out as if the god of fire had descended, turning into a fire Qilin that swept across the world. Fire Qilin Cave. The people from Fire Qilin Cave had arrived. Everyone exclaimed. The archaic king of the Buying clan was also surprised. Great. If Fire Cheelin Cave wanted to help them, they could definitely kill the kid in front of them. But soon, their expressions changed. Because after the Fire Cheelin Cave's experts arrived, they didn't help the Bayin clan, but stop the battle. What was so important that they had to make such a big fuss? An elder of Fire Cheelin Cave frowned. As soon as those words came out, everyone was shocked and couldn't believe their ears. Heavens! What was the meaning of this? The people from Fire Cheelin Cave were here to stop the fight? How was that possible? One had to know that Fire Cheelin Cave was an archaic royal family. How powerful and terrifying was that? Moreover, they were enemies with Lin Xian. It was already good enough that they didn't help the Bayin clan to suppress Lin Xian. But now, the other party actually stopped the battle. Not to mention the humans, even the 10,000 archaic races were stunned. Especially the people from the Bayin clan. They were all dumbfounded. This brat crippled our 10th generation grandchild. We must capture him and tear him to shreds. We will make his soul kneel in front of our Bayin clan forever. An archaic king said coldly. Lin Xian sneered. Kneel in front of you? You're courting death. Your grandson was courting death, so I crippled him. If he didn't court death, I wouldn't have bothered to do anything. If you want to make a move on me, go ahead. Whether it's a one-on-one battle or a team battle, I'll take it one by one. Facing the might of the Bayin clan, Lin Xian wasn't afraid at all. Chapter 29:10. The people of the Fire Cheelin Cave looked displeased. To be honest, they also wanted to kill Lin Xian and even the entire human race. But they couldn't do it now. If the two sides fought here, it would definitely not be a small battle. They might even use sacred weapons. In the end, even the saints might come out. A battle of this level was enough to threaten Skyflame City. If it affected Skyflame City, who knew what kind of changes would happen? This time, they were here on the orders of the Cheelin Crown Prince to obtain that thing in Skyflame City. They wouldn't allow Skyflame City to suffer any losses. Therefore, they wouldn't let the two sides fight in this battle. If there were any grudges, they would settle them after entering Skyflame City. Yes, they definitely couldn't affect the arrival of Skyflame City. The powerhouse of the Fire Cheelin Cave said coldly. As soon as he said this, the people of the Nest of 10,000 Dragons and Divine Phoenix Ridge also nodded. They also didn't want anything to happen to Skyflame City at this final juncture. Seeing the three ancient royal families come out to stop them, the people of the Silver Clan gritted their teeth in anger. But there was nothing they could do. Although they were uncrowned kings, they were still far inferior to the real three royal families. Now that the three ancient royal families had joined forces, they could only swallow their anger. Kid, I'll let you live for a while longer. After entering Skyflame City, I'll teach you a lesson. An ancient king of the Silver Clan snorted coldly. Let's go. They quickly retreated to the side with their men. You should be glad that someone came out to stop them. Otherwise, you would be a bunch of dead people now. Lin Xian snorted coldly. If the Silver Clan dared to make a move, he guaranteed that they would definitely regret it. The Silver Clan was so angry that they vomited blood. Lin Xian waved his hand and asked Li Xuanxian, the chief guardian, and the others to retreat. They came to an empty place and waited quietly. Skyflame City was about to open. Powerful figures descended one after another. Sacred grounds, great sects, and ancient races appeared one after another. All the powerful forces had come. Buzz. In the sky, endless auras filled the air. Powerful combat strength suppressed the surroundings, causing the expressions of these geniuses to change again. Who was it this time? These people were terrified. Looking at the other party's aura, they weren't inferior to the top geniuses from before. It's our unparalleled battle body. The war race's people cried out in alarm, their faces filled with excitement. That's right. The one who came this time was their war race's #1 genius. The war race's #1 genius was extremely terrifying. His body flowed with brilliant colors, making it impossible for others to see his true appearance. However, the aura on his body was enough to suppress the 9 heavens. Previously, it was the Silver Tribe. Now, there was the War Tribe. These two tribes were both ancient royal tribes and were very tyrannical. Could Lin Xian really resist so many people? There are many people who want to kill me. Who do you think you are? Obediently line up at the back. Lin Xian waved his hand disdainfully. So what if you're the number one prodigy? You're courting death. The number one prodigy roared and punched out. The sky full of light condensed, forming a shadow that directly fell with this punch. The entire world trembled. The invincible king screamed in horror. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish now. Lin Xian snorted coldly and also stood up. His body bloomed with light, and a ray of sword chi rushed into the sky. Stop! Seeing that the two peerless prodigies were about to fight, the experts of the Fire Qilin cave walked out again. They directly tore the void and swallowed all the energy. Buzz! An old man said in a deep voice. Before Skyflame City opened, no one was allowed to fight. Otherwise, you will be an enemy of the Fire Qilin cave. You will also be an enemy of the nest of 10,000 dragons and the divine Phoenix Ridge. The people of the other two dynasties also stood out. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and did not say a word. The number one prodigy of the war tribe also withdrew his hand. Since that's the case, I'll personally kill you after Skyflame City. With that, he turned around and wanted to leave. Wait, there's no need to go through so much trouble. I'll settle it today, Lin Xian said. What? Everyone was stunned. They thought that things would end like this, but they did not expect Lin Xian to make a move at this time. What was going on? Yi Wudao, Gu Shandong, and the others also frowned. Making a move at this time would offend the three ancient royal families. Chapter 29:11. Sure enough, the three primordial theocrats frowned. They stared at Lin Xian with unfriendly expressions. Kid, I said you're not allowed to attack. Are you deaf? I, Lin Xian, have always been free to do things. The heavens can't control me, and the earth can't control me either. Who do you think you are to control me? Facing the three ancient royal families, Lin Xian still didn't give them face. The surrounding people went crazy and were in an uproar. Was this guy crazy? He actually dared to provoke the three ancient royal families. The three ancient royal family powerhouses' faces completely darkened. They were so angry that they trembled, and the killing intent on their bodies swept through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Kid, you're courting death. I'm courting death? Then come and bite me. Lin Xian sneered. Didn't you guys say that no one is allowed to attack before Skyflame City opens? Does this not include yourselves? Don't tell me you guys are slapping your own faces so quickly. You. As soon as these words came out, the three ancient royal families were so angry that they trembled. The surrounding people cried out in alarm. It was over. This Lin Xian was really going to fight with the ancient royal family. An ancient king of the nest of 10,000 dragons said coldly. We took action to suppress you in order to maintain order. It's not considered breaking the rules. You guys set the rules? You guys maintain order? Lin Xian sneered. Who gave you the right? Do you really think of yourselves as supreme existences? I even said that the rules here need to be set by my immortal palace, and that I need to protect them. Lin Xian's voice became colder and colder. I remember that when we signed the immemorial Treaty of Alliance, it was said that the 10,000 ancient races and the human race should be treated equally. Since when did the 10,000 ancient races want to suppress the human race and set the rules for them? As soon as these words came out, everyone's hearts skipped a beat. The Yi family's patriarch, the Gu family's patriarch, the Queen Mother of the West, and the other sect masters' pupils constricted. Cold sweat dripped down their backs. Indeed, Lin Xian was right. When the immemorial Treaty of Alliance was signed, everyone was on equal footing. But in reality, the 10,000 ancient races were too powerful. This was especially true for the three great royal families, who were even more overbearing. This time, Skyfire City was led by the other party. Previously, when the three ancient theocrats had joined forces and explained the rules of this place, they had not resisted. This was because they had subconsciously lowered their heads to the other party and acknowledged the other party's leadership. However, Lin Xian was different. Lin Xian did not fear these 10,000 ancient races at all. Back then, he had even beaten up the sages of the 10,000 ancient races, causing them to cry out miserably. How could he allow them to set the rules? Why should he follow the rules set by the other party? The other elders and experts of the human tribe were also discussing animatedly. It seemed like they had to reflect on their actions. Otherwise, there would be no need for the dark upheaval. In the future, their human race would be reduced to slaves of the 10,000 ancient races. This was not good news, so they had to seriously reflect on it. Let him do it. Right at this moment, a dignified voice resounded from the 9 heavens. Everyone was shocked and raised their heads to look. The eyes of the ancient life forms also flickered. In the next moment, their hearts beat wildly. This was because a dragon head was faintly discernible in the endless sea of clouds above the 9 heavens, emitting a terrifying divine might. The supreme expert of the nest of 10,000 dragons. They were shocked. When the people of the 3 ancient royal families below heard this order, they also retreated one after another. Several ancient monarchs joined forces to form a peerless array formation that enveloped the surroundings. There was nothing they could do about it. Once Lin Xian and the number 1 genius fought, the power and destruction caused would be extremely terrifying. They had to carefully protect themselves with array formations. Otherwise, if they alarmed Skyfire City, they would not be able to bear the consequences. Damn it, this guy actually dared to provoke them like this. They really wanted to kill him. These ancient life forms gritted their teeth. There were also elders who said in a low voice, "Don't be rash." These humans seem to have reacted. We can't let them reflect on it. Otherwise, if they join forces to resist, it will be much more troublesome for us in the future. Don't worry, we'll let this little guy jump around for a while. With just this kid and Immortal Palace, they won't be able to stir up any waves. We have to play the role of leaders and rule makers and let the humans gradually fall into our trap. These ancient powerhouses communicated in low voices. They were using a slow infiltration method. Although it wouldn't be effective in a short period of time, after hundreds or thousands of years, the humans would have to bow their heads to them without even fighting. They wanted to let this relationship penetrate deep into each other's blood and bones. In the sky, countless runes flickered. An ancient primordial aura spread out, and a shocking array formation was formed, enveloping the surroundings. Seeing this scene, everyone frantically retreated and hid in the distance to watch. Nothing was important now. Only the battle between these 2 geniuses was the most important. The number 1 genius snorted coldly. Now, they could finally fight. I'll let you know the consequences of provoking me. The number 1 genius was extremely domineering. Lin Xian had no intention of making a move. He sneered. We can fight, but did I say we'll fight here? Follow me over there. As he spoke, he soared into the sky, turned into a sword light, and tore through the void. The number 1 genius was stunned at first, but his face soon darkened. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Kid, no matter where you go, you won't be able to escape death. He also stepped in all directions, and a pair of terrifying divine wings grew on his back. He directly turned into a stream of light and flew into the distance. The others were also shocked. They could not understand why Lin Xian had to go through so much trouble. Why did he have to go against the 10,000 ancient races every time? The faces of the 3 ancient royal families were terrifyingly dark. The ancient monarchs were so angry that they were trembling. Damn it, if you don't want to fight here, you should have said so earlier. They had to set up so many ancient arrays. All of these required an enormous amount of precious resources. Lin Xian naturally did not do this casually. He did this for a purpose. He wanted to break the dominance of the 10,000 ancient races. What right did he have to set the rules? What right did he have to have the final say? Did he have to fight here just because he said so? What a joke. He, Lin Xian, was not the other party's slave. So why should he listen to the other party? No matter what the other human race cultivators did, Lin Xian would not be restrained. No one could affect him. He could do whatever he wanted. This was the mentality of the pinnacle of martial arts. Although he was still unable to fully achieve this, he would definitely continue to work hard in this direction. Cultivation was to transcend heaven and earth. Even heaven and earth could not control him, let alone the 10,000 ancient races. Want to control him? Lin Xian snorted coldly in his heart as he flew. He was even more determined in this belief. After flying for about 1,000,000 miles, Lin Xian stopped. All right, let's fight here. Behind him, the #1 genius also walked over. Kid, I have to say, the place you chose for yourself to be buried is really not that good. There are no spirit veins here. Looks like you can only be a lonely ghost after death. Upon closer inspection, one would realize that they weren't flames, but formed from Tao patterns. It was a flaming gate formed by the flaming Tao patterns of heaven and earth. It was formed by the Tao sects. These people were shocked. This heaven fire city was too terrifying. No wonder even the great emperor couldn't see through it completely back then. Did it fall from the immortal world? The flame gate in the sky flickered, but in the end, it was formed. It was incomparably dreamy, like the gates of the immortal world, bringing with it endless temptation. Charge! In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen figures rushed over. Among them were 2 elders of the human race's 5 elements palace, the 3 invincible kings of the divine flame sect. In addition, there was an elder from the fire Qilin cave and 2 geniuses from the fire dragon tribe on the 10,000 ancient races side. There were also 2 prodigies from the Redwing race. In an instant, they arrived in front of the flaming gate, wanting to rush in. They had no choice. In such a mysterious place, they had to seize the initiative. Their speed was quite fast, but in the next moment, they screamed miserably. Miserable screams rang out, causing one's scalp to go numb. The bodies of those elders and powerhouses cracked open, directly shattered by the Tao patterns. Blood surged in the sky, and in an instant, it was burned clean by the terrifying flames, leaving not a trace behind. What? Were they all killed? Everyone was terrified. It was too terrifying. Those who wanted to move all stopped in their tracks. Even the powerhouses of the 10,000 ancient races had extremely ugly expressions. There was danger. The flaming gate was actually dangerous and incomparably terrifying. That was the power of the Tao patterns, the power of the laws of heaven and earth. It was very difficult for those below the sage realm to resist. Damn it! How could it be like this? Could it be that they could only watch and not enter? Should they use their sacred weapons? Or should they activate their sage realm? The expressions of the sacred grounds and the 10,000 ancient races were incomparably solemn. They all looked at Fire Qilin Cave because they knew that Fire Qilin Cave should know more. However, this time, even the powerhouses and elders of Fire Qilin Cave were dumbfounded. They also didn't know what was going on, because according to their intelligence, this flaming gate shouldn't be dangerous. If there was any danger, it should be the danger in Skyflame City. But now, they couldn't even enter the gate. No, that's not right. Look, the Queen Mother of the West exclaimed and pointed forward. The others were puzzled. Could it be that something had changed again? They also looked towards the sky. In the next moment, they exclaimed. They didn't die? They discovered that a few figures had walked into the flaming gate and didn't die. What was going on? Could it be that they could block the attack? That's not right. These are all young people. How can they compare to those ancient kings and the elders of the sacred grounds? The surrounding people were all stunned. The eyes of the sect master of the Saber One sacred ground lit up. I understand. There's an age limit. Perhaps only the younger generation can enter. The older generation powerhouses can't enter. As soon as these words were said, everyone was in an uproar. The 10,000 ancient races also understood. Indeed, there were some powerful secret realms and places that had restrictions. For example, there were restrictions on cultivation base or age. It seemed that this flaming gate should also have restrictions. Since they had found a way, they heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it wasn't impossible to enter. As long as they could send people in, there would be a chance. Were they sure it was an age limit? Perhaps it was a hypocritical limit. Although the few who entered were elites, they were all peerless mighty figures. They hadn't become invincible kings. And although the ones who were killed were of the older generation, they were also invincible kings. Therefore, they still needed to verify it. On the side of the 10,000 ancient races, The ancient king of the divine Emperor Ridge also frowned and said, "That was easy." An old man from the nest of 10,000 dragons snorted coldly. He had a dragon's head, but he had 8 dragon hands. The pair of wings on his back carried a blood-colored light. At this moment, his 8 arms waved and instantly grabbed an old human martial artist who was only a peerless mighty figure. He instantly threw him in. "No!" The old man screamed crazily. "Damn it!" The people of the moon-worshipping sect also roared angrily because this was one of their people. However, they couldn't stop it. Chapter 29:13. The nest of 10,000 dragons was too powerful and domineering. Everyone's gazes were fixed on the old man. They wanted to see whether or not the old man would be able to enter the palace. Whoosh! The old man from the moon-worshipping sect was instantly killed as soon as he approached the door. Not even a drop of blood was left. He was killed. Damn it, it wasn't a cultivation restriction, it was an age restriction. It seemed that only the younger generation was allowed to enter. The Yi family head's eyes flickered. The Gu family head frowned. He didn't know if Skyfire City's understanding of the younger generation was the same as theirs. To the human race, those under 500 years old were considered the younger generation. However, if they wanted to find out, they would have to try. The Purple Dawn Sacred Grounds sacred leader also frowned. On the other side, the 10,000 ancient races were also thinking of a way, but it wasn't difficult for them. They directly grabbed young martial artists of different ages and threw them in. In the end, they found that those under 500 years old were safe and sound. Those above 500 years old were killed regardless of cultivation. The younger generation? Everyone's eyes flickered as they took a deep breath. It seemed that they could only leave it to the younger generation. "Elder, don't worry, I will definitely get that thing." The eyes of the younger generation of the Fire Chelan cave bloomed with dazzling light. They had unlimited confidence. So what if it was the younger generation? So what if their elders couldn't enter? They could stand alone and suppress the 8 desolates. Not only the Fire Chelan cave, but the Divine Phoenix Ridge, the nest of 10,000 dragons, and the other ancient royal families were also excited. They were originally determined to embark on the path of the Great Emperor and conquer the 8 directions. Now, exploring Skyfire City wasn't a problem for them. On the other side, the humans were more worried, especially the Yi family head. He looked at Yi Wudao with a solemn expression. "Wudao, are you sure you want to go?" Yi Wudao was the hope of the Yi family. They didn't want Yi Wudao to suffer any losses. Moreover, this time, even the older generation couldn't enter. If the 10,000 ancient races joined forces to deal with Yi Wudao, it would be dangerous. "Don't worry, I can handle it," Yi Wudao said in a deep voice. The other party only sent in young geniuses. There are no older generation experts. We are all young people. I won't be afraid of anyone. Yi Wudao's eyes lit up. He was very confident in himself. In the competition between the younger generation, he was not afraid of others. He said, "Don't worry, family head. I still have a few treasures in my hands. With them, I will definitely be safe and sound." Hearing this, the Yi family head nodded. A few of the grand elders said, "Wudao, come here. I'll give you a few more treasures." "Okay." Leaf Doudinier smiled helplessly, but in order to reassure the prime elders, he put the treasures away. In addition to Leaf Doudinier, many of the other holy children and chosen were also preparing to enter. They had also obtained many Dharma treasures and life-saving items from the great sects in the Holy Land. "Be careful." The Wavering Light Sacred Land's sacred leader looked at the Wavering Light Saint and said in a deep voice, "Don't worry, Master." The Alcade Saint shone even more brightly. Murong Qingqing and Shun Jingqiu also received treasures from the Holy Land. Murong Qingqing even received a bottle of Jade Lake holy water. A single drop could bring bones back to life. This was a true life-saving method. On the other side, the geniuses of the 10,000 ancient races were also very excited. Without the older generation, they were confident that they could crush the human race with just the younger generation. Haha, when the time comes, the treasures will belong to the 10,000 ancient races. They were very excited. "Let's go." These people prepared to move out. This time, the prides of the nest of 10,000 dragons and divine phoenix ridge were the first to come out. Many figures stood in the sky, suppressing everything. Their auras made the elders of the human race exclaim. They were so scared that they almost fainted. Heavens, how are they so strong? Yes, although they are all of the younger generation, their auras are too terrifying. They are even more terrifying than the elders of the older generation. I glanced around and found that there were several people who were even fiercer than Bai Qianshan. What kind of people are these? Even the patriarch of the Yi family and the others took a deep breath. Be careful, Wu Dao. They clenched their fists but did not stop him. If Leaf Dao Dinier wanted to reach the peak of the martial path, he had to fight these people. Leaf Dao Dinier, the Alcade Sage, Murong Qingqing, Gu Santong, and the others also had solemn expressions. Indeed, the prides of the 10,000 ancient races were too strong. They really didn't know where the bottom line of the 10,000 ancient races was. Every time, more terrifying geniuses appeared. Yin Nantian stood in the void like a heavenly emperor, looking down on all sides. He was expressionless towards these new prides of the 10,000 ancient races. Soon, he took a step forward and came to the front. He stood side by side with the prides of the nest of 10,000 dragons, Fire Qilin Cave, and Divine Emperor Ridge. These people looked at him and frowned slightly, but did not say anything, because they knew that he had obtained the inheritance of a great emperor and was extremely powerful. He was the successor of a great emperor and was qualified to stand with them. More importantly, he had a special relationship with the Yin family. Let's go. A peerless genius of the Fire Qilin Cave shouted coldly. He took a step forward and turned into a Fire Qilin, directly entering the Fire Dao Gate. At the same time, the prides of the nest of 10,000 dragons from Divine Emperor Ridge also entered Yin Nantian. Similarly, they entered together. Endless runes flickered on his body, turning into a chariot that carried him and flew into the distance. After them, the prides of the 10,000 ancient races also made their move. On the human side, Yu Wudao, Gu Santong, Yaoguang Sage, Murong Qingqing, and the others looked at each other and also walked forward together. Among them, Murong Qingqiang and Shun Jingqiu turned their heads to look into the distance as they flew. Big Brother Xian hasn't arrived yet? Don't worry, when the palace master arrives, we will let him go immediately. Li Shu and Xian and the others said loudly. At the same time, there was a trace of anxiety in their eyes. In the distance, 1,000,000 miles away, a shocking battle was still erupting. Qiu believe in Big Brother Xian. With Big Brother Xian's strength, no one can threaten him. Murong Qingqiang said. Shun Jingqiu nodded, and the two of them entered the Fire Dao Gate hand in hand. Soon, many young figures entered. Only the older generation experts and the elders were left. Their eyes flickered as they looked at the Fire Dao Gate, because no one knew what was inside and what kind of dangers were lurking inside. Fortunately, they had given these young disciples enough treasures and trump cards this time. Thinking about it, he should be able to return safely and obtain the treasure. Scram. Suddenly, a crazy roar was heard. It turned into thunder and spread in all directions. As soon as this voice sounded, the surrounding people all turned their heads, and the elders of the war tribe also changed their expressions. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.